Yes.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Good. Excited about Berlin? Yes. All right, so am I. I can't wait. It's actually one of the best, the study tour is actually one of the best features of the MAIB program. We get a lot of feedback from our alumni that was a great experience for them and that they were able to make a lot of friends. So I'm excited to get to know you a bit better on the study tour as the rest of the faculty leaders who will be with you later on today. This morning, we're very lucky to have Dr. Sharon DeFino. She's an associate professor of German at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And she's here to give us an introduction to the German culture and business etiquette. That way we're better prepared once we get there. So please help me welcome Dr. Sharon DeFino.
Guten Morgen. That's your first phrase you should learn. Good morning. And I see you're all punctually right here in the class. That's the first rule for Germans. Remember, when they say something begins at 9, it begins at 9 or 8:30, except for the academic hour. And I won't go into that because that's 15 minutes after the hour. Okay, so today I would like to start, just for a few minutes before I get into talking more about an intro to German culture. When you think of Germany, without thinking too hard, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Just throw out words. Okay, so I'm going to put this quickly on the board. Okay, what else? Oh, very good, very good. All right. Very good. Oh. All right, not the same guy. Very good, you get extra credit. Okay. Don't be so shy. Come on, you all have opinions. What was that? All right, so, all right, well, that's up here. All right. What else? It's okay, good. Let it roll. What was that? Soccer, right, awesome. Which, by the way, is Fußball. Anything that involves foot in ball, and probably in just about every language, is soccer. What we call football is our, Gator big stadium football, but soccer is Fußball. Good, other things. Come on, you guys, Church. What was that? Church, okay, we'll throw that up there too. So you mentioned World War II. Oh, who said that? Hitler. Yes, okay. And don't be, anything that comes to Germany, it could be positive, negative. Just because I teach German doesn't mean, it has to be only positive things. So what else? Okay, good. Chocolate and? European Union. All right, so. All right, what else? A couple more. Wagner. Very good. All right. So I guess music, right? What else? Give me another one. One more. Heidegger. What was that? Heidegger and Habermas and Hegel. Okay, awesome. So that's awesome. We'll put down philosophy, all right? And theology, because that goes well together. All right, well, look at your list. It's interesting to see. I didn't mean to put, I guess European Union could be looked at as a positive or a negative thing. And as far as church could be neutral, too. But it looks like you guys have almost more positive things than you have sort of negative with World War II, Berlin Wall, and Hitler. I guess that sums up quite a bit. But we're going to talk a little bit about, and I have a student project. I teach a modern German culture and literature class, and this one group put together, which I'm going to project for you, and I left it untouched because it was their work, what they thought of when they thought of German, two prominent German figures that kind of summed up German culture and I'll come over here, and German culture and history, which I think you'll find very helpful. And this was their little poster. How many of you, I guess you all know who the chancellor is, hopefully, right, of Germany? How many people, raise your hand? All right, it's very important that you know this chancellor, and I'll tell you why, not only because you're going to Berlin in Germany, but there are other reasons. And how many of you heard of Bismarck? Okay, so we do have a few history buffs. Well, they chose these two figures for very good reasons. First of all, let's look at we'll look at the Angela Merkel, who is the current Chancellor of Germany. So you know her. How many know some facts about her? Okay, well that's good. I don't know your names.
I'm Italian.
Okay.
So that's why I know Angela Merkel.
Okay, you're European. Oh, you rock. That's great. That's awesome. Okay, and I think you're American, right? The philosopher in our group.
Yeah, but I have German heritage. So.
Okay, so what do you know about her, real quickly, without looking down?
She's the daughter of a Lutheran pastor, grew up in Eastern Germany, more of a technocrat when it comes to leadership style, but a very driven individual who has managed to hold Germany together and the European Union in many ways through the latest crisis.
Awesome. Yes, but the most obvious thing, not maybe because you're a guy, but she actually, yes, that was true. She was born to pretty much, middle-class family, unlike Bismarck, who was, if you read on the right-hand side, was an aristocrat. But she's the first woman chancellor so that's a big deal. I mean, we're still, when are we going to have a woman president in the United States, right? So she's the first female. She does not have any political background. In fact, I don't know, what's your name? Stephen. If you look, she has more of a science background, but yet she's become a very powerful leader. And she also had been voted by Forbes as the #1 most powerful woman in 06, 07, 08, 09, 11, and 12. I don't know what happened to 10. But she's clearly had a good track record. And, she's a chemist. And like a lot of people, she's been married more than once. She does have children. And she comes from the former East. And later, well, I guess you can't really see that. Former East consisted of 5 Bundesländer, 5 states. And what makes her also very powerful is that because she grew up in the former East, she's also fluent in Russian. She's fluent in English. German's her first language. Why would you think, from a cultural and business perspective, that would be so important today? It's okay, you're not history or political science majors, but just think business savvy or diplomacy, if you can. You would.
When she has to meet with the French president, you're not going to speak French, and he's probably not going to speak German, and so English is a neutral language.
Okay, well, not English, but the Russian.
Oh, the Russian.
Yes, the Russian component.
They can get a lot of natural resources from Russia. So
Oh.
it's smart to do business with Russia.
Yeah, and does Russia belong to the European Union? No. So, and Russia does have a lot of natural resources, and it's really important from a political and business perspective to have the ability to communicate with the Russian officials and diplomats and politicians in Russian. That definitely enhances their relations, and that's why, not that you guys would be expected to learn German, but if you can learn a few thank you, please, a few phrases, that is really a plus. Because when you can speak somebody else's native language, even though the world knows English, you become more powerful. So if we look at, she's multilingual, she's a woman, she's doing a great job. How many of you guys have heard of German austerity? All right. Well, show of hands. Again, one more time. So, okay, it's okay if you haven't. No one's, they're not getting graded on that. I would say before your Berlin trip, you Google German austerity, and in the last few months, and actually in the last few weeks, there's been a lot about German austerity. Who feels confident to give me a few words about austerity? It's okay if you don't.
Tightening the financial belt in many different sectors of society because of the debt crisis and lack of income from tax revenues and so forth. And so what is normally a fairly liberal social welfare system has to be trimmed back slightly, and in doing that without causing street protests as have occurred in other European states.
Right. So where do you think Germany would stand when it comes to austerity? And the reason why I've been mulling and mulling over how I should best approach this, but I realize Germans are unlike Americans, and it's true, we're not as political, and they will want to engage if you're fortunate enough to have conversations with Germans, and I'm sure you will be meeting lots of them. They're very on top of politics, and they're very eager to talk about politics. Unlike in the States, we grow up that you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about sex. I mean, for the most part, that's American, and I'm generalizing, but that's true. Where do you think Merkel in Germany stands on austerity? And that's your homework assignment, though, before you go. And if you want, I have many articles for you to read. So where do you think, what's going on in Europe right now? Well, you're Italian, so you're the best person to answer that question.
I'm here actually exactly for that reason, because lately Europe is not, economy in Europe is not that good. So Angela Merkel is actually helping Europe a lot, even if in Italy lots of people don't actually love her because she's very strict. And yes,
She's tough.
exactly. So Italy has a huge debt, deficits, and sometimes she really wants a lot of stuff that Italian economy right now can't actually achieve. So a lot of people in Italy don't really like her, but just because our economy is not that great right now.
Well, and there's an acronym that they use, PIGS, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain. And it's not just Italy. And by the way, I'm 100% Italian heritage, so I know people say I'm in the wrong department. My Italian is foods, most important. So it's not just Italy, but Southern Europe is having some real financial difficulty, and Angela is trying to help these countries and Europe in general without dipping too much into the German resources and upsetting her own citizens. So she's really in a tough position, and like I say, you know, it's finally they have a German chancellor, but of course, female chancellor, but she has an awful lot on her plate. So we also, you mentioned the Berlin Wall, and Germany has had, and this is why I have, or my students put, in 1870s, he was critical in the unification of Germany. So prior to 1871, Germany was a bunch of principalities, lots of different states, like, you know, and with their own autonomy and their own systems of doing things. And it wasn't until that time, which is 19th century, that it actually became united. And then, of course, shortly thereafter, Germany experienced World War I with horrible defeat and was left devastated financially, emotionally, psychologically. Of course, you have Hitler on the board, so you have World War II. Once again, it was even more devastating because you also, and no one mentioned, and I don't know if you were too shy, the Holocaust. So on top of defeat, you had the Holocaust. And Germany slowly built, after the war, with the help of the Marshall Plan, built up, Marshall Plan, Americans, and they had a wonderful, what they call the miracle years, and they started slowly building up, but Berlin had been totally defeated after the war, and Germany was divided. How are we doing?
Got about 5.
Okay, got about 5? Okay, so maybe what I'm going to do is say that, that with the wall, it was erected in 1961, and Germany was divided into West and East. And it wasn't until the late 80s, 1989, that the 5 new Bundesländer were united, or East was united with West. And this is all now, Merkel comes after that. So she's addressing a lot of issues on the reunification of Germany, the current issues with the European Union, and Germany's own economy with what's going on economically, globally, the situation that we're all in. I want to show you this other, it's a very short film, and it's by Die Prinzen. It's a popular group, and this is what Germany Germany means to Germans, okay? And I want you to pay close attention to what you see in it and see if it corresponds with our list that you put up on the board. So, let it roll. This is the play, right?
Oh, I muted it before we were running.
Whoops. And here's your Berlin Wall. That is a car, but that's an East German car. I'll stand on this side because it's loud. Yeah, see, you were. Aldi, German company. Said we're the friendliest people on the world, in this world, and these are all German companies that you should know. Schumacher, it said there's only one thing that's off, and that is Schumacher doesn't drive a Mercedes, but then the text said he now does. And that's the group. Former East and West. Said we live and we die here. Airbus, German. Kraft, German. Merkel. Hitler, on your list. Said we love our cars as much as our women. Says God kissed the earth once. Soccer. Kit Kat, German brand. And that's everything that's Germany, and that's them. Said like nowhere else, not in like the United States. Said we live and die here. Sauberkeit, cleanliness. Said we can be proud of Germany because Nazis raus, Nazis out. You'll still see these symbols around Europe. It's almost over. You saw in Berlin all the German flags. Does anyone know what event that was? And that was not too long ago. It's on our board. Yeah, well, you get the Berlin Wall. One of the guys said it. Yes, it was the World Cup. It was the first time since really since World War II, the Germans were proud to display their flag. I mean, in every classroom in the United States, we have a flag, and we're proud of our flag. You see them in front of, cars, dealerships, in front of schools, public places. Germans don't do that. And that's because, as you put up on the board, World War II, Hitler, that was the first time that they were, and it was soccer, through soccer, they were able to display their flag. And our Italian colleague will probably confirm that. So, so I know you're preparing for Berlin, and we probably have like 1 minute, right? The things that I can tell you is before you go to Berlin, it's a wonderful city, and I don't know how much time you have. There's lots to see and do. But before you go, because you're going to be in a very business environment, read up on German austerity. I can send you these, if you want, these two things. Try not to be, and I know most of you or half of you are American, try not to live up to our wonderful image of the obnoxious Americans. Try to be punctual, try to be polite. Germans, when you meet a German, look them in the eyes and you shake hands. When you drink with a German, you always say Prost or Zum Wohl, or whatever your version is for whatever country you come from, and make sure you have good eye contact. And also to listen to what they have to say before contributing your political opinions, because the other thing I'm going to prepare you is, what do we have coming up in the U.S. It's a big deal. Yes, they are going to be so up on our elections, and they could potentially ask you about the elections. So I'd say give some thought to it. You have a long flight over, print out some articles, think about it, but be prepared to also talk about that, and not just from who you're going to vote for, but from a political and economic point of view, okay? So those are some of the things that I can, also I'd say, you probably get maps and all, but you can take virtual tours of Berlin. There's wonderful things you can see and do, and I don't know what kind of free time, but also to Google a little bit about the city, because it's a fabulous city. And Checkpoint Charlie used to be the part of the American sector. There's now a wonderful museum that you might not want to miss. I don't know if they have time. So do they have time to ask me a question or two? Or?
Yeah, we budgeted time for
Okay, awesome. Questions for me? Anything. My students who know me well know they can ask me anything, from like, where do you buy Tylenol? In a grocery store over there. Yes?
What's your favorite beer in Germany?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I don't drink a lot of beer. When I do, I drink quality. Let me see, it's a tough one. This summer I was gluten-free for about 3 months. Then I came back to the States, and I found a wonderful beer, German beer that was gluten-free. I don't remember. But to be honest with you, my favorite beer is actually Belgian. So, which you can buy also in Germany, but you'll find that I tend to like dark beer. Anything that's dark in German, I will drink. And you can try Beck's, is a very good brand. But they have such a big variety. But the best thing is to get something that is local and on draft. Forget about the bottles. We can buy that here. We can go to Stubby's, get something, go into a nice bar and get something on draft that you like. And anything from light to like Hefeweizen, which has wheat, and you can see it's cloudy. That's my favorite. It's not a brand, it's a type of, like a wheat beer. Anyone else? Yes.
Comment. I was in Berlin in 2006. The beer was really bad. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you a beer drinker then?
Yeah.
So you have to try then Belgian. I have a Belgian friend I live with in the summertime, and he makes sure he stocks his fridge, so I won't do anything Dutch. He puts all Belgian beers. It's kind of subtle. Hannah.
I noticed the hotel address, it's the word, and it has a big B in it. What does that mean?
Oh, B for Berlin, probably.
Well, no, the address is S-T-R-A-B-E.
Okay.
B up there.
It's like the, S, like that.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, yes, that is actually, there's a German term, you don't have to remember it, but it's an S set, and all that means is double S. Okay, so this is the word for street, and that would be this. Yeah, Strasse, which is street. Good, other questions? I love these. Yes?
Is there a certain SIM card that you should buy that is useful across most of Europe if you're going to be traveling to the European countries?
You know, the funny thing, yeah, oh, I just love that SIM card thing. You can get a SIM card in Germany, but your SIM card in Germany will sometimes work in, say, Belgium, Netherlands, or somewhere else, but you're going to pay, it'll eat up more of your time. So the best way around that would be, and it's really cheap, you can pick up a SIM card at the market for 5 or 10 euros, or, you know, it depends on how much talking you're going to do. In most countries, you can receive texts and calls without costing you. Like in the States, if you receive a text or you send a text, you know, or you receive a call, you're paying for that. And that's not necessarily the case. It's starting to change that in some parts of Europe. And my Italian colleague can confirm that, right? So I think that if you also can look into, not Verizon, but I think T-Mobile will let you use your phone overseas without being that expensive, right? I'm a Verizon, and I have a Dutch cell phone, and I just use that throughout all of Europe.
It's 99 cents. It used to be 99 cents.
With T-Mobile? Yeah, see, I think that's a good deal. I think that's probably your best bet, because you don't want to have to buy a phone and mess around if you don't know how to activate it, and you know, it could get a little complicated. But it is possible. Anyone else? Anything? Yes?
Favorite food in Germany?
Well, favorite food in Germany. Well, I'm going to tell you, and Elizabeth's going to confirm that. You're going to have a great variety, and there's always going to be what they call street food, and in Germany it's, whoops, that's an N. And that is sort of a quick, on the street, you can get Turkish, you can get, what was your favorite you guys liked in the Netherlands? They used to get all the time. Oh, you can, yeah, not in, it's more, would be more Turkish. But what was the other place they like to shave meat? Yeah, döner. Döner is, it's not necessarily my favorite. Once in a while I'll go for it, but it's cheap, it's quick, it's delicious. But my favorite actually is more traditional, very heavy, fattening German food. Like I like the schnitzel, nice lean cut. I like either the potatoes that will be like fried or French fries. You know, sort of that heavy, I love sauerkraut. So I'm like really old-fashioned, traditional, heavy, fattening German food, and with a nice draft. And then I'm in heaven. And then, of course, having to jog for like, 5 miles after I digest the food. So, so you really, I mean, that's the funny thing. You know, Germany used to be much more of a homogeneous society. It's much more now mixed. So you're going to have opportunities at markets to get all kinds of food. And there's a lot of Turkish influence, which is the same like in the Netherlands. And I love that stuff. I mean, you have to try it if you like food. I mean, wonderful flatbreads and, all kinds of, like tzatziki and olives. So you can have anything. And if you're vegetarian, they have wonderful vegetarian places to eat and foods and special stores. They call, it's so funny because our health food, their health food stores are Reform House. It sounds like a reform house. And basically that's their earthy, crunchy stuff. They call muesli fresser is somebody who, a muesli eater, is somebody who is into the natural foods. Other questions? Yes?
If I just have one day in Berlin, what should I do? What should I visit?
Oh my goodness, if you only have one day. Okay, well, I'll answer that question by saying first you decide what you like. There are many, many museums. So if art and museum and history, then you have a big choice. I I think it would be really cool to go to, well, the Holocaust Museum is really, really a good place to start to give you a good sense of German history. But then there's State Museum, which has wonderful art. And I'd say if you like music, you can already look at the program because there's the Opera House, there's all kinds of classical music, but not just classical, there's jazz, there's pop music. So you can visit museums of history, museums of art, you can do musical events, but I think you probably have to book. Make sure, they're not, I went to a Lorena McKennitt concert on the Rhine this summer, but I bought my tickets online I think about 5 weeks in advance, so it wouldn't be sold out. So I don't know quite, you'd have to check into that. You can also just simply decide there's the, what is it, the Sony building? Oh, see, I never got to go because they were renovating. That was on my list of to-do. So I would see like what you guys offer for them and then decide what you like. And you can do anything in Berlin. There's a wonderful zoo. Maybe you want to go to a European zoo if you've never been. I can tell you the one in Köln, I've been to it, is fabulous. The one in Antwerp is also great, but I've never made it to, oh, I did once go to the Berlin Zoo. That's awesome too. Yes?
I'm trying to remember, I think there's a boat tour on the river.
Yes, I mean you can,
We get to see quite a bit.
yes. See, that's actually, your professor has a really good suggestion. I would do something where you can see the most. You can do a boat tour. You also can ride the double-decker buses, and that will also give you a tour. Something either walking or, on a boat, on a bus.
Well, the first day of the second day actually of your program, you're going to be doing a scavenger hunt, and we'll cover that later. And it's designed to help you explore the city.
That's
So
great.
you have a full day to try to answer a lot of the questions on the scavenger hunt list. And a few of the ones that you've mentioned, Checkpoint Charlie,
Yes.
the Sony building, the
Yes.
Berlin Wall, all
Yep.
of those are on there.
I usually do a German IQ, and I say, what camera has the Carl Zeiss lens? And Carl Zeiss is German. Sony. Yes, good. It was not plastic. Class. Oh. Other questions? Yes?
So besides football, the second most popular sport in Germany?
Oh my God,
Is there
soccer.
a one?
Well, it's funny because they do play basketball, which is probably, I would say that's probably second, maybe equal to field hockey. Field hockey in the U.S. mainly girls play. Men don't play field hockey, do we? I don't think so, but they do in Europe. I don't know about Italy, but
It's pretty much only soccer all over Europe.
and that's what I was just going to say. It's pretty much, it's hard for people when we look at this here at UF. We'll look at UF. Football's number one, wouldn't we agree? What would come next? Basketball. What comes after that here? Maybe baseball? I don't know. Baseball. But soccer rules. Okay, it's soccer, and soccer is really, really important. That's it? Time? Okay. Yep. All right, well, thank you very much. And I think these guys have they can give you my email if you have any further questions. And I'd say on your exit out, make sure you guys, and I don't know, maybe you tell them that any of your personal things like shampoos and stuff, don't bring a bottle that's this big. Just take what you need for the week because you'll find it there, or not even, you can buy it there. But anything like cold medicine you should have, even if you don't have a cold, you don't know if you'll get one. And those things that we get at the CVS that's open, or Walgreens that's open 24/7, you won't necessarily find that 24/7. So things like that are not only not as readily available, but they're more expensive over there. So take like a little mini first aid kit with you. And of course, if you do take any medications, take those medications, and maybe even if you have a copy from your doctor, a prescription, just in case you need something filled. Okay, and I'm sure you guys will provide pharmacy information probably in advance, just in case. That would be my other big advice to you guys, and umbrella, because it will rain. It won't snow unless you're going in November. When did they go? October. Oh yeah, perfect. It is. October is a rainy season, I have to say. Like the end of October, it starts to rain. So make sure you have an umbrella. All right, thank you, and have a great trip.
All right, good morning. We're going to talk to you about Siemens and the energy industry. So a brief history about Siemens. It was started in 1847 by Werner von Siemens when he designed the Pointer Telegraph and the Gutenberg press. They quickly expanded in the 1800s, early 1900s. And they made acquisitions so that they could cover all fields of electrical engineering. They were pretty decimated after the World Wars, but they rebuilt quickly. And by the 1960s, they were reorganized into the powerhouse that we know today. So the vision and values, they've got three main points. The first is to be responsible. They want to be committed to ethical and responsible actions. The second is excellence. They want to achieve high performance and excellent results. And the third is innovation. They want to be innovative to create sustainable value for the company and for the consumers. So a good quote from Peter Losher, who's been their CEO since 2007. Our values are the point of reference for our thoughts and actions. They are the basis for both our aspiration and tradition as a pioneering company that strives to shape our world in a sustainable way. Only when we stay true to our values and vision can we be successful in the long run. And this is pretty much key to Siemens and how they operate today. So they have a bunch of sustainability goals that follow with those values. The three big ones are the environments, since they do produce a lot of energy. They do wind turbines, other renewable resources. They also do natural gas turbines and other traditional fossil fuel-based power generation. So they really want to take the environment into consideration. As a business, they want to be a sustainable business. They want to be built for the long run, as evidenced since they've been around since the 1840s. And then they really want to benefit society. So they're not just focused on turning a profit. They want to be a socially responsible citizen. So the development goals of Siemens is they want to make investments that are profitable. This includes both projects that they have, including a $900 million new project in the US for wind turbines, and any acquisitions that they make. They've recently acquired 3 different companies in 2011. They also want to provide a competitive product to their consumers, both with wind turbines and the other projects they have. And they want to also, above all, maintain their company ethics. So Siemens was originally started in Germany, but they quickly expanded in the 1850s and set up regional offices in London and St. Petersburg. And today they operate in over 190 countries. So they're a very global company. Opportunities worldwide is, as we said, they're going around making a lot of worldwide acquisitions. They have a lot of new orders and contracts worldwide, and there's a boosting demand for electricity all over the globe. It advanced by 17% in the past year. Some threats are their strong competitors, which I'll touch on in a minute. Risks from the global markets, we all know about the European debt crisis and some social unrest in other countries. And then environmental regulations with the Canada Treaty and other things that they have to keep in touch with. So looking at some of their major competitors, they're GE, ABB, and Philips Electronics. As you can see, Siemens is the second in revenue among their competitors, but they're on the bottom for profit margin. So they have a lot of room for growth, and they're really striving towards that. I'll turn it over to Amy.
So in recent decades, the world has seen a shift to energy that is renewable. These include natural gas, as you can see, wind power, water, biomass, photovoltaics, and coal, including hot coal and ignite. In Germany, these account for 72% of energy generated. The world has seen also an increase mainly Germany is also very focused on reducing their carbon emissions, and they want to eliminate all nuclear power by 2012. Siemens, of course, again, is available to meet the demand of renewable energy. This is a closer look at how electricity is generated in Germany. As you can see, there's fossil and nuclear. And when you take a closer look at renewable energy, you see all the different types of I've already mentioned. These are highly growing, and Siemens has the opportunity to grow within Germany.
One question. What other businesses are they involved in? They're all over the place. Energy is the main, but what else?
Their next biggest would be healthcare. They also do like automation systems for industries. But energy is 35% of the business represented.
Thank you very much. Please help me welcome the Bayer Group. Yes.
All right, good morning. My name is Erin. This is Jackie Kelly Jo, and you may know me about Bayer. So a little bit of history of Bayer. It's been around for a really long time. It was one of the first. It was a big international company to begin with, before it was like cool 100 years ago. And they began as a dye company to meet the growing demands of the textile industry. They developed the wonder drug. It was like the drug of the century in 1987, and we know it today as aspirin. So it's been around for a really long time. Bayer has set some really high standards for their goals, mission, and values. And to be an international company, they really focus a lot on the community, the environment, and the company as a whole. And that's a really big task for a company as large as Bayer. The executives, Dr. Deckers has been their CEO since 2010. He's done a really good job there so far. He came from America and worked with several different chemical companies there. Their chairman is Dr. Reinhardt, and they're managed by him. These are some of Bayer's leading products. I'm sure many of you will recognize them from your own bathroom cabinets, and would be surprised to learn that they were developed in a Bayer lab somewhere across the globe.
Okay, so specifically, Bayer Pharmaceuticals is also a global enterprise. Their headquarters are in Berlin, and they have locations worldwide. Manufacturing takes place in Europe, Asia, North America, and South America. And they have, specifically in Germany, they have 5 facilities there, so that's kind of their primary location. And their research facilities in Germany and the United States. As you can see here, the market share for pharmaceuticals is all over the Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific. So it's really, that's why Bayer's kind of taken an international presence. And here, as you can see, this is their response, it's just locations worldwide. Bayer has many opportunities for growth, so they can expand. As the population grows, it's trying to be healthier, and the population is aging, the demand for medication is expanding, and Bayer can meet this expansion through acquisitions, partnerships, and continued research and development. They also are looking to emerging markets for another opportunity. The sales increased 9% in the past year, and now it's a total of 36.4% of their total sales. Bayer also has a lot of unique opportunities for innovation. They have a collaborator program where it's a space in the United States that serves as an innovation hub for startup companies to come and work. They also have a Grants for Target program where they give grants to people to explore novel drugs. And these both provide opportunities for idea exchange, partnership, and increased innovation. And where there's opportunities, threats always follow, especially in a market that is this competitive. There's legal risks that can go between product liability, competition, antitrust laws, patent disputes between the generic and brand names, and things like that. Government regulations are also another big problem for them. When they're trying to get their products to the market, they regulate every aspect of it. Also, the prices are subject to regulations, where oftentimes they'll favor the generic brands over the brand names. Also, the cost of research and development is a big problem. I mean, not every product that they work on is going to make it to the market and succeed, but the time, money, and effort are necessary due to the competitive nature of the industry. And lastly, as a global enterprise, the financial risks are always a problem, fluctuating interest rates and exchange rates, and then the risk of inflation and deflation.
So Bayer was established over 130 years ago in Germany and has 12 locations there today. Locations in Germany employ 35,800 employees of the total, almost 54,000 European employees. In 2012, Bayer reported European sales of 14.4 billion euros, which accounted for almost 40% of global sales. Bayer Healthcare's primary functions are to research, develop, manufacture, and market innovative products for prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of diseases. Recently, there have been many factors affecting growth for Bayer and the industry. Partnerships with Johnson & Johnson, along with other companies, have allowed Bayer to further distribution to regions best targeted by those private sector companies. Medical advances and increasing amounts of research and development on medications have also allowed for substantial growth within Bayer Healthcare Pharmaceuticals. A greater understanding of medicine and its effect on the human body also creates a window of opportunity for further advancement in pharmaceutical development. Government regulations are increasingly strict in regards to pharmaceuticals. The FDA is continuously getting stricter with regulations to get a new drug on the market. Prices are also subject to regulatory controls in many markets. The government can set prices and favor generic products over brand names, as Jackie discussed earlier. As with any industry, there's always threats for the company, and some of the financial and economic crisis some of the problems with the financial and economic crisis going on in Europe right now relates to Bayer to be sure that they separate their economic factors from the political strife going on right now throughout the European Union, as well as the communication between Bayer and their distributors. They mainly work a lot with Johnson & Johnson, which deals a lot with the distribution to America, as well as the decreasing value of the pharmaceutical supply sector. Climate can affect climate affects their production of their medical supplies. As we know, medicines have a certain lifespan, and you're supposed to store medicines at a certain temperature. So with the increasing climate change and the greenhouse effect, they're trying to work on producing medicines that have a longer lifespan at higher temperatures. Also, with risks, as Jackie mentioned earlier, they have the opportunity cost of the new drug too. These are a few of the leading businesses in the industry. You may recognize a few of their names. And their market shares by volume, you can see that the main competitor is Pfizer. Just a few values for you to check. And all of the pharmaceutical revenues are in billions. And as with Rick, there's always opportunities that come along. So with new technological advances allows for new technological opportunities to create new medicines, as well as the advancements in healthcare to learn more about the physiology of the human body, as well as leading into creating new medical resources to deal with these new problems. And as well as an opportunity from the threat of the greenhouse effect is the opportunity to protect the resources of the globe so that the future generations don't have to deal with the scarcity that we may be dealing with.
And from now on, what we're going to be doing is going through the group presentations in order. And before we continue, I want to remind you guys to please be respectful of the speakers. Please make sure that laptops are down and that you're not going through your phone. As you'll know in just a few minutes, it's tough to present sometimes, and it's not very good feedback when people are on the phone and not paying attention. So please give the due respect to your classmates because they'll be giving it to you. So without further ado, please help me welcome the group that is presenting on commercial service.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to introduce the U.S. commercial
U.S. Commercial Service, and then the history of it, and the mission and goals. And then we're going to talk about the global business way of commercial service and the opportunity and threats. U.S. Commercial Services is actually a government sector, and it's a BU of U.S. Department of Commerce, and then it's under the International Trade Administration. Their job is to promote trade and then support U.S. companies to export and then expand in the global markets. Now they have 109 domestic offices in the U.S. and then 128 offices outside the U.S. And then they also have the services in Germany. Their office is located in U.S. Embassy in Berlin, where we're going to. And then we can expect that the U.S. Commercial Service will make more efforts in helping the company to export and do business around the world because of the policy. On March 12, 2012, is this year, President Obama just said that he expected that we are going to double the exports by 2014. So that's in other words, that we have to double our trade in 2 years. But actually, the Department of Commerce, they have confidence to achieve this goal, and we can expect that the commerce services will play an important role in this. About the commercial service, it is germinated in 1897, and then it's officially established and changed its name in 1981, and then the official logo is changed in 1995. And through its history, we can see their strategy. Their focus is to help the company to export, and then they especially help support the small size and medium sized company to help them to connect with the importers or the other company around the world. And then except for helping the exports, they also stimulating the job economic growth. It's obviously because the trade will grow up. And then they create jobs and bring manpower because they have a strong network. And also they have a good promotion. They have several programs provided, and then they have good website and magazine that can promote their ideas and then the information to the company or other businessmen in other countries. And they also provide customized services to different kind of companies. And then their mission is that their vision is that they want to create the prosperity through global trade. And then their mission is that they want to create economic prosperity and enhance job creation, and then have more national security. And then they also want to help the U.S. business to be successful around the world, which we can see in the history or what I mentioned before. They just do this. They just do many things to achieve their mission statement. And then this is the leader of the commercial service. He is Charles A. Forbes, and he's assigned as Assistant Security for Trade Promotion and Director General. And he has experience in both commerce and also in international situation. Because of his background, he worked in many commerce-related sectors in government, and also he worked and lived in many countries as ambassador. And now, we're going to continue the next part.
The U.S. Commercial Service does business globally. They have many international offices around the world, and also they cooperate with magazines and councils, which is the departments in the United States. They also do marketing and risk controls, finance controls for the United States Their current opportunities is due to the German market, because the German market is the largest market in the Europe Union, and they have high levels of productivity and a highly skilled labor force, and also they are in a central location. Many people say Germany is the heart of the Europe, and their current threats is because Germany has complex regulations to those traders, and also they have high bureaucratic costs, and also due to the economic status such as the interest rate, the exchange rate, or the price levels, the trade exports, imports will change. And the U.S. Commercial Service has large market research and database for those U.S. companies to reference. And also, they are not just for the chance to the big companies. They also give chances to the small and medium business. And because the U.S. Commercial Service is held by government, so they have much more protection and lower risk. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next, group 3. If you thought you weren't going next, you're wrong. Nobody's presenting on group 2. So, Berlin Stock Exchange, you're up. Okay, please help me welcome group 3.
In Germany, we will have chance to observe one of the world's largest stock exchange and study how they manage their business. So let me give you the overview of the Germany Stock Exchange and Berlin Stock Exchange. German stock market is represented by the DNX index, and German Stock Exchange is the largest exchange in the Europe zone, with the market capitalization is $1.3 trillion. It has 9 stock exchanges, and the largest and oldest stock exchange is Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Frankfurt Stock Exchange was founded in the 11th century, and with the 260,000 trades daily, it is the world's third largest stock exchange. The Federal Financial Supervisory Authority is responsible for managing the Germany stock market, and it will issue the regulations to control the market. In general, the Germany stock market depends on 4 factors, that is just size, liquidity, and maintenance. Recently, there are some opportunities and press on the development of Germany Stock Exchange. Germany Stock Exchange have opportunity to expand to the Europe market through the M&A activities. For example, in 2008, it made its attempt to join the NYES Euronext to become the largest stock exchange in the world, but was rejected by the European Commission because the concerns of monopoly. It also have the Europe job crisis also raised the opportunity for Germany Stock Exchange to develop, because you can see that Germany have the best economic performance among the Europe country. We can see it through the data about the
government policy also give the German stock exchange the opportunity to develop because it stimulates the company to develop through the Europe crisis. About the Berlin Stock Exchange, it is one of the oldest stock exchange belong to the Germany Stock Exchange, and it has the excuse me, it's a wrong PowerPoint.
Oh, just continue.
Okay. I need to change because it's too different. It's too
It's
different.
gonna be taken out. You have 4 minutes.
I can do it. It's after because it's going to change. the First World War.
Group 5, Visit Berlin, you're up. Okay, please help me welcome Group 5.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, when our group first picked this topic, we were pretty excited about that because we think that is kind of maybe some explanation about where to go, what to eat in Berlin, but it never turns out. We were pretty excited about that, so that I go to Google all the pictures and all the description about where to play in Berlin. So I got all these fantastic pictures about the churches, about the nice scenery, and then we discovered that it's going to be about German tourism industry. Okay, but anyway, let's start it. Okay, in 2009, in 2011, the size of this tourism industry in Germany is pretty big. According to the data from the World Tourism Organization, the international tourists, the number of the international tourist arrivals of Germany is ranking the number 8th in all worldwide, and it has a 28.4 million arrivals in the year of 2011. I think it's pretty impressive because Germany is just like a state, like in America, or it is just like a province in China, but it has like 28.5 million arrivals in 1 year. By the way, the number of that of China is like 55.7. And then the direct contribution of the tourism industry to the GDP is around 41.9 billion euro dollars, which equals to like approximately like 50 billion US dollars. And the total of both direct and indirect contribution of the tourism industry to its GDP is about 117.6 billion European dollars, which equals to 144 billion US dollars, and it equals to 4.6% of the GDP of the Germany. And then let's come to see some more data of the tourism industry of Germany. This is the graph about from the year 1992 to 2011. It talks about the numbers of overnight stays in Germany's Rome. As you can see in the graph, the red one represents the residents, and the more green one is represent foreigners, which means that the main market of the Germany tourism industry still comes from their domestic needs. And then let's come take a closer look at the foreign visitors in Japanese tourism industry. In 2002, from the year of 1992 to 2011, it maintained a pretty steady increase. But as you can see the graph below it, but the average stay night for foreigners drops from like 2.4 to maybe 2.25. According to my opinion, I think it's that it's because now Chinese occupies a very large majority of their tourists who come to visit in Germany. So I think according to our habits, we don't spend too many days in one single country. We just spend 3 or 4 days in one single country and go on to visit others. And then this is the main source of the tourists in Europe that pay visits to Germany. So we can see that in Europe, mainly the main source of the tourists are Netherlands, Switzerland, and United Kingdom. And so here comes to talk about the factors that affect growth. First, the economic situation, pretty straightforward because if the economy is in better situation, people got more money, they will have more willingness to travel and make better traveling plans. And then second, technological development. Technology is making it easier and easier to travel between different countries. Like in China, I think the policy is that in Germany, both the federal government and the municipalities take the responsibility for tourism. The federal government is mainly responsible for ensuring the uniform conditions for the continued development of tourism. And for the social issues like maybe some World Cups or the world-class festivals, that will also increase the number of tourists. This is main, some regulations about Germany government, what they try to do, what they try to stimulate the tourism industry in Germany. And then we come to talk about a leading companies in Germany, which is TUI2AG. It was until 2001, it's still a transportation and industrial company, and then it started turning itself into the multinational tourism and transportation company. Let's come to the data. It operates in over 180 countries in the whole world, and it owns like over 3,500 travel agencies all in the world. And then it owns 120 aircraft, and it has owned 7 airlines of its own. And then it has 12 hotel brands in 28 countries with 285 hotels and around 163,000 staff. And then it also has the largest shipping companies.
First, the Berlin Frankfurt International Airport is under construction. It was scheduled to open in 2013 and the capacity will up to 14 million passengers. It will obviously bring more visitors to Berlin. And the internet technology improvements will also make visitors to feel convenience to travel Berlin, because nowadays people are always booking hotels and air flights online, and it will make it easier for people to travel. And the third will be, first one will be safety. The increasing of unforeseen events will affect international travelers to come to Berlin, and they will fear about the extreme temperature and storms, like the Trump said that the natural disasters is increasing every year. And the local environment is threatened because a large amount of travelers come to Berlin, and the local residents feels very uncomfortable with that, because a noisy environment at late night, people drink German beers at bars, and the noisy environment and the rent also goes up because lots of hostels in the urban popular areas. And now we will talk about issues.
We divided into the issues impact opportunity and tourism into 4 parts. First is political part. And in order to promote the development of Berlin tourism, the government widened the infrastructure of travelers, like we mentioned PPI. Can I finish it in Berlin? And second is legal. The government in Berlin should have more laws to protect
Volkswagen is the fourth largest or the third largest automaker in the world. They're the #1 exporter in Germany and part of the #4 German industry, the auto industry. Forbes ranked them as number 17 in their list of top 2,000 companies in the world and #1 in the auto industry. But before we go into more about how they stand now, we're going to look at their history. Volkswagen was developed by a group of people who got together and said they want to build a car for the people of Germany. They called it the People's Car, or the Volkswagen. And that car was going to be built in the most advanced factories in the world. They modeled them after the River Rouge factory that Ford had developed in Dearborn, Michigan. Unfortunately, the group that developed that was the Nazi Party. And so by 1939, they had transitioned the new factory that they had built into wartime efforts, and there were no Volkswagens being built for the people of Germany. By 1946, the British came in, the war was ramping down, and they got the factory back up and running again, making the People's Car for Germany. They developed the first production run of 44 vehicles, and a year later they were exporting vehicles to Holland. And they also redesigned the logo, which is what we're more familiar with today. Now we're going to look at how the company has grown. Since 1966, they have been acquiring other automobile manufacturers. The first one that they acquired was Audi in 1966. And they do this through a unique process where they will go ahead and they'll buy a majority stakehold position and then slowly increase their share over time until they have absorbed the company as a subsidiary. And you can see here that they offer many brands for all different markets. They have Bentley, which they sell 1/3 of to Car, and then they have ones like Seat and Skoda that operate purely in European markets. And they're expanding those into the developing markets of India and China. Now we're going to look at some strategy that they had in 2002 and 2007. The CEO went ahead and decided that he was going to divide the company into 2 functional groups: the sporty group and the classic group. And they were going to be able to synergize within those groups and develop sports cars and classic automobiles more designed for the economy class. Unfortunately, that did not work out well for the company, and they ousted the CEO in 2008, about the same time that the Porsche merger began. Now, the Porsche merger is a very interesting story because what originally happened is Porsche had decided to stake a secret takeover of Volkswagen. They bought 20%, becoming the largest shareholder of the company, and then made it public that that's what they were doing. And they slowly continued to increase their stake. Unfortunately, something called the global recession happened in 2008, and their loans came due that they're borrowing money to buy those shares. And it virtually bankrupted Porsche, which put the new CEO and Volkswagen in a fantastic position. They strategically went in and bought a little over 49% of Porsche shares, and then by 2012 they had completed the merger, which resulted in them paying about 7 billion euros total for the Porsche to absorb it into the Volkswagen AG company. They really gained a lot of economic benefits from that because they valued Porsche at $20 million on their books, and they also calculated that they'll save about $700 million a year in synergized efforts. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is where it's heading now, the company. They developed a strategy called Strategy 2018. By 2018, they want to be the leader on quality and cost in the world. They want to increase their profit margins to being greater than 8%, and they want to increase their technology and change their production facilities. I had a pretty cool picture of what they're developing, but basically they're retrofitting all their factories to work on a mixed toolkit. And And what that means is that they can build models from all of their brands in the same factories and change out the toolkits within a couple hours. So they could be making Audis one day and then be making Bentleys the next, or Volkswagens and Lamborghinis. It doesn't matter because it's that flexible for them. It's going to result in a 30% reduction in R&D costs. It's going to save the company 20% on each individual unit that they build, and it's also going to make the units lighter and more fuel efficient and have better emissions, so they'll be more marketable throughout the world. I think that as a company, Volkswagen is really positioning itself for future growth, and that they're trying to get into markets that they're already in but maybe not very successful, like the American market. They're also moving into India and China. In India, they project that by 2018, or through 2018, there will be a 132% increase in the auto market there. So it's very important that they're going into these developing economies and launching their businesses and their brands. And I'm free to take any questions.
Overview of what we'll be discussing today. And Sam's going to talk about the history. The first Hard Rock Cafe opened on June 17, 1971 in London, England by Isaac Tigert and Peter Morton. They created the restaurant with the casual rock and roll atmosphere and an all-is-welcome mindset. Their guiding philosophy is love all, serve all, and basically means that anyone, regardless of race, sex, religion, whatever, is welcome at their restaurant. In 1982, Tigert and Morton decided to expand globally and each opened their own restaurants in different cities across the globe. Hard Rock has now grown to over 175 venues in 53 countries, including 139 cafes and 16 hotels and casinos. The Hard Rock venue is known for their extensive memorabilia collection that contains over 70,000 pieces. This collection began with Eric Clapton, who was a frequent patron of the London location and decided that he wanted a way to claim his booth. So he put his guitar on the wall. And then Pete Townsend of The Who sent his guitar to the restaurant claiming that he wanted his own booth as well. And so the collections just started growing and people kept sending in their memorabilia, and eventually it grew to the 70,000 piece collection that rotates from restaurant to restaurant. Hard Rock Cafe Berlin opened on May 18th in 1992 in that area, and it was such a success that eventually it relocated to a more popular area. Now I'll move on to their mission. Their mission since 1971 has been to do well by doing good in their local and global communities. They've adapted a wide range of philosophies that are supported, including Take Time to Be Kind, which supports humanitarian causes, Save the Planet, which supports environmental causes, and All Is One, which supports the entertainment industry. This love all, serve all strategy has been ingrained into the Hard Rock philosophy since day one, and their goal is to support the collaborative partners to help raise awareness, necessary funding, and educate our guests on pressing issues related to specific philanthropic programs and causes. They believe that positive change is possible, and they try to do so through their passionate guests, their artist ambassadors, and their incredible team, Hard Rock Rockers, to make the world for a better place for all. Now, Maddie? Let's see if I can get it right this time. So their current president and CEO is Hamish Dodds, and he's been with the company since March of 2004. So he's responsible for overseeing, as Sam said, locations throughout the world. I mean, they're operating in 53 different countries throughout the world. So he oversees all their operations and development, which obviously is not an easy feat. He began working with the company in March, so previously he was the CEO for Corp, and he also has worked with PepsiCo for 13 years. When he was there from 1997 to 2002, he was the president of the Caribbean, South America, and Central America, so he has extensive international background with obviously international companies like Pepsi. So obviously Sam talked a lot about their philanthropic endeavors, but something he really brought with him when he joined the company was his passion for women and children's development, and one of the major philanthropies that they support is stopping sexual slavery throughout the country.
Their global operations, as said before, they're in over 50 countries across the globe. Specifically in Germany, they have 4 locations: Cologne, Munich, Hamburg, and Berlin. And the Berlin location was one of their first international locations when they decided to expand. I think it was Berlin and Paris. And they opened in 1992 and then relocated. Here, all of their locations across the world. The orange is their cafes, and the purple is their casinos, and the yellow is one that's going to open soon. And here are their locations in Germany. As you see, their 4 different locations are pretty spread out, pretty much each location. There's Berlin, where we're visiting. Some opportunities and threats for Hard Rock Music Cafe. The first one in Berlin is the extensive music scene. Pretty much because they have all the memorabilia, the guitars, everything, they can attract customers who want to come in, see everything on the walls, and like Sam said, they have their music ambassadors who, I don't know, come around, and they have like the different popular pieces of memorabilia that go to different restaurants, so they can attract a really wide variety of consumers that way. Additionally, they offer traditional, like an American diner experience, which could attract other customers looking to partake in American cuisine, have the diner experience. Like, I don't know if you guys have been to a Hard Rock, but a lot of times the floors are checkered and they have all of the music everywhere, so that's a big opportunity. Some threats is the current pretty much global health trend that's hit Germany too. They're being more concerned with what they're eating. As the speaker said this morning, they do have like health food stores, things like that, and this is just like a picture of like an appetizer that Hard Rock serves. So a lot of their menu items are fried, and while the Berlin location menu didn't offer calories, the New York menu did, and a lot of the dishes are the same in both menus. Very high in calories. You could pretty much go in, eat one meal, and have your like, daily caloric intake. So this is a big threat for them, but I think that a lot of people who are going to the restaurant know what kind of food they're looking for. Additionally, they don't offer any traditional German food in their Berlin location, and this is a threat as well, but a lot of people going to Hard Rock are looking for the American or the rock experience. They're not looking to go in and have traditional food. Okay, so the Hard Rock Cafe operates in the casual dining, restaurants, and bar industry. As we can see, the industry market value in 2011 was almost $30 million, and the forecast for 2016 is a growth till more than $31 million. The Hard Rock Cafe can also be considered a team restaurant, where there's a huge core concept, as you know, music is the more important concept. And the atmosphere in the restaurants is even more important than the real food. The competition in this industry is strong. We have both small restaurants and big chains. And 3 factors that grow are consumer spending, personal income, and retail sales for food, services, and goods.
All right, so the government in Germany has a big impact on the food industry, especially because they implemented what's called these short-time work programs and temporary work programs. And what they do is the government says, if you give these people temporary jobs, we'll subsidize some of their wages. So the food industry took a lot of these people in, but now the difference is there's no federally mandated minimum wage. So they can pay them whatever they want. So they're getting cheap labor for free. And once these programs run out, it's a problem to the food industry. And all these people are still trying to pay for their health insurance as well. So the economic forecast, while still good, has some threats. A few of the leaders, obviously, just like in America, McDonald's and all those companies, specifically in the casual dining industry, Berlin, Hammer, and Pico. That about wraps it up. Anybody have any questions?
Last but not least, number 10. Okay, please help me welcome Group 10. They're going to talk to us about the economic environment in Germany.
So we're just going to give a brief overview of Germany as an economy. It's the fourth largest economy in the world at about $3.6 trillion. It is the third largest exporter in the world at $1.4 trillion. Service, manufacturing, and agriculture are kind of the three major sectors, service being the majority, around 70% of the economy. In 2010 and 11, it had fairly strong GDP growth. 2012 isn't looking so good. At the end, I'll kind of talk about the future growth of Germany in the last slide.
Right, so a lot of you probably heard about the Eurozone crisis. Basically, it's an ongoing financial debt crisis. The problem is, like, members of the European Monetary Union, they can't refinance their own debt without help of third parties. And this is caused by, well, initially it was caused by the Greek high debt, and they got high debt because of bailouts of the banks, as well as high public wages. And so basically investors lost confidence in the European banks because it held Greek bonds. And the stocks plunged, and then they had a $750 billion euro financial rescue package that they approved to try and help this. But then all the other countries, Portugal, Ireland, Belgium, Italy, they also accumulated high debt. So investors once again lost confidence and stocks plunged once again. And then Spain accumulated, well actually they passed bank regulations to help tighten bank regulations so that investors have more confidence in the bond market. And then Spain, their banking sector collapsed. So once again, this is an ongoing crisis. And they're still continuing to try and rescue it.
And Germany financial system is complex and dispersed, but I try to finish it in 1 minute. And the Germany financial system has remained widely unchanged in the last decade, but is characterized by its banking system. And the banking system is based on a three-pillar system. And the first pillar is the private banks, and the second pillar is the public sector banks, including the savings banks and land banks. And the third pillar is cooperative bank networks. That's all for me.
Okay, so there is an ongoing crisis in Europe, as we all know, as mentioned before. I think Germany is still the most stable and most attractive economy in the entire region. So the impact of Germany's economic condition on business is a pretty positive one, since I look at economic indicators such as consumption. And based on previous quarter reports, consumption is increasing by 0.4%. That's due because the labor market is increasing. Around 470,000 jobs were created in July 2012. That means that these workers will earn wages and will have more money to spend and boost consumption. Also, private spending is increasing. So which means that people is not saving money, it's also contributing to more consumption, which makes the German market really attractive for the local and global firms. Okay, so the impact of Germany's economic condition trade is exchange rates determine the level of trade in a given country. As exchange rates increase, exports in a country decrease, and as exchange rates decrease, exports on a country increase. So in the case of Germany, the depreciation of the euro is pretty favorable for them since they are mainly like an exporting economy. So we see an increase in exports to third countries. That's due to the decrease of the euro. Now these other countries that hold a different currency than the euro can purchase German goods for cheaper prices. And this leaves Germany with a trade balance surplus of 16.9 billion euros. Okay, so foreign direct investment. So in this part, as we all know, interest rate affects foreign direct investment. But I think that that's not the case with Germany or the entire European Union. If we see the very low interest rate that Germany is paying for their bonds, and when I check the past quarter reports, foreign direct investment hasn't changed that much in the last 10 years, even though there's an ongoing crisis. So I believe that foreign direct investment depends more on investor psychology rather than interest rate. If investors think that the crisis is like a short-term crisis, they will still invest, and some more investors might not be at risk takers and think that it's going to get worse in Europe, they won't invest.
And I think I misspoke at the beginning, the slide was right, but Germany's economy is the 4th largest in the world. It's the largest in Europe. So the Bundesbank, the central bank in Germany, is estimating that GDP growth in 2012 is going to be 0.6 to 1%. So it is much lower than the 3.6 and 2% that was in 2010 and 11. Previous models for economic growth in Germany have been based upon increasing productivity, and economists are beginning to think that this has limited ability for Germany's future. And a lot of experts are thinking that innovation is going to be key to the future growth. So this is just something to think of as we tour companies. Where is the innovative side of what they're doing? I think they'll probably talk about productivity, and German firms are known for productivity, but innovation is going to be key. In manufacturing, service, and infrastructure are competencies that Germany has that can be leveraged to take advantage of future economic trends. And so this innovation is really allowing Germany to utilize these core competencies to take advantage of global trends that are happening around the world, to take advantage of them very quickly. And one of the key things that's going to be here is market capitalization of these new ventures. And so it's going to be important to see how this plays out, especially on our tour, seeing where companies talk about innovation.
All right, 10:45. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me? In the back, we're good? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'll be discussing just go over the logistics of the program so that we're all on the same page and that we can make sure to find each other once we get to Berlin, and so that there are no surprises. I would like to try to go through this as much as possible without questions. We tried to do it last term with questions in between, and I couldn't get through it. So, and a lot of the stuff I'll cover. But at the end, I'll leave room for questions. If I didn't cover anything that you have questions about, please feel free to ask. First, I'd like to introduce your leaders. You met Dr. Aitu earlier today. Elizabeth Humberstone is here. Then we have Hannah Morris. At this point, you should all know Hannah. And then I'm happy to introduce to you Laura Braden, who's coming along. And actually, Sherry Deast, right in the center, is another leader who will be joining us, but she's not here today. And this picture was actually taken, that's the cool leader group. This was actually taken in Prague last fall. In case you're interested or in case you want to know who your leaders are, in this program, you can look in the second page. It's a list that appears like this. It's an Excel sheet. And under leader group, you can see who your leader is. And the leaders are very important, and I'll talk to you about why that is a little bit later. OK, as you guys know, this is a graded course. It's not just a fun trip to Berlin to just party. And we have some goals and objectives for this course. And that is for you to gain an understanding of the business environment in a different country, and that you understand the political, economic, and social factors that impact that. We want you guys to be able to apply your cultural awareness and intercultural skills, and to be able to solve problems in an unfamiliar environment. And solving problems, for those of you who have never gone abroad, include things such as figuring out how to get from the airport to the hotel, which can always be fun, or getting around in a country where English is not spoken as the primary language. Why did we choose Berlin? Well, as it was covered earlier by your classmates, Germany is the world's 4th largest economy by GDP. It's a major political and economic power in Europe. It's the US's largest European trading partner, and it's the 6th largest market for US exports. So it's a pretty important economy for us to learn about. And Berlin, well, it's the capital of Germany, and it's the largest city in Germany with a 3.5 million population. It's also a very exciting and fun city. It's got a very interesting history, as you learned about earlier today. So we thought it would be a great location for you guys to explore into, a great country to learn about. OK, expectations. This is our beautiful group from Spain. You guys have a lot to live up to. I have been leading study tours for the past couple of years. And I got to tell you, the Barcelona group was absolutely fantastic. It's been the best group that I've led. So I hope that you guys can beat them. All right, those guys were amazing. OK. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page. This is a graded course. You guys have looked at the syllabus, so I hope that you're familiar with what the expectations are. I want to highlight a couple of things. One is attendance is a big piece of this experience. And if you miss one session, your grade will automatically drop to a B. That's the highest grade that you'll be able to earn. If you miss 2 sessions, it's a failing grade for the course, regardless of how well you did in all the other components. For MAIB students, this is very important. The study tour is a required part of your degree requirement. So if you fail the study tour this time, we'll be seeing you on a future study tour, which might not seem like a big punishment, but if you add up the cost, it's something that you probably don't want to do again or have to do again in the future. OK, your grade will be determined by the group projects, participation, and professionalism. Daily journals. Please read the instructions in the syllabus. I want to emphasize that you need to focus on cultural and business experiences. In the past, we've had students who submitted journals that were like, today I woke up, I drank coffee, I walked down to the presentation, I went back to sleep, I saw my friend. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that focuses more on reflection, whether it's cultural or business. And what I would encourage you to do is to focus on the sessions. If you have time, I'd encourage you to read the news, maybe pick up a local newspaper and figure out what's going on and give some feedback regarding what your impressions were at that time. There's some good examples of journals posted on eLearning. If you go under resources, you can get an idea of what we're looking for. We're going to have a post-trip quiz, and this is going to be based on the in-country lectures. So I encourage you to take notes. If you look at the program, there are a lot of spaces for journal and notes. Please make sure that you take these programs with you to all of the sessions. Any questions regarding grades? OK. Attendance. Attendance will be taken on site. Your leaders are very important. You guys need to make sure that you check in with them every time that we're in a session. And this will be the attendance will be at every session, so make sure that you check in. If we have 3 sessions that you check in at after every single session. No-shows at meetings will be reported missing. This is very important for you guys to know. If you know that you're going to be missing a meeting, whether it's excused or unexcused, you need to contact us to let us know. We have to manage risks, and as soon as we know that a student is missing, or if we don't know where you are, we have to report you as missing. That's calling the International Center and trying to figure out what the best way is to make sure that you're safe. So please save us some time and prevent us from worrying about you. If you know you're going to miss a meeting, let a leader know or let one of your classmates know so that they notify us. Okay, professionalism is expected not just at the meetings, but 24/7. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please treat the study tour as a job interview. A lot of you will be asking us for recommendations in the future, and if we see something that is not proper, it'll be more difficult for us to provide a recommendation for you. On the flip side of that is, if you were fantastic, participated, were stellar, were professional, that's something that we can easily talk about and we'd love to highlight in a letter of recommendation in the future. Please be respectful of leaders, of the speakers, and fellow students. Be respectful. This is another one that's very big. It's be respectful of hotel guests. There are a lot of us. It's going to be 91 students going on the study tour, and the hotel is not a club. It shouldn't be treated as a party place. We have had in the past guests who have checked out because our students were very disruptive. And this is not something that we want. We'd like to continue to go back to a hotel in Berlin if we go on future study tours. So this is what we have told the hotel is, if there are students who are being disruptive, and disruptive as in being loud, you're not letting people sleep, having a party in your room, those are not good things. They can escort you out of the hotel for the remainder of the program. And at that point, you would be responsible for finding your own accommodations, and it would be at your own cost. So please do not have parties in the hotel lobby or in your hotel rooms. There are plenty of places to go out in Berlin. Okay, I'm sorry for those of you who know what professional behavior is, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page about what's considered unprofessional. One is arriving late or missing meetings, speaking while speakers are presenting, checking email, iPhones, pretty much the rule so that we're all aware, and I don't have to remind you, but I will once we're there. No electronic devices in the meetings while we're there. It's absolutely rude to be using your laptops, your computers, or doing something else while there are speakers there. Walking in and out of the presentations constantly. This going in and out for the bathroom is not right. You should plan accordingly. We're all adults. If we have 100 students, so you can imagine if 10 of you start going in and out, how disruptive that is. If you have a condition where you need to be going in and out, let us know ahead of time so that we know what's going on. Not paying attention, sleeping. A lot of you may be going out at night, so please make sure that you drink enough coffee to be awake at the meetings. Taking off your shoes, ties, leaning back. It sounds like common sense, but we've seen it before, so we want to make sure that we remind you that that's not acceptable. Eating before you're invited to do so. If we go into a presentation and they happen to have a spread of food or hors d'oeuvres or something, please wait to be invited. You don't know if the guest wanted for us to have it before or after the meeting. So unless we're invited to eat something, just please wait until you're invited to do so. Being intoxicated and losing self-control, please, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are adults, so. Okay, this is an overview of the itinerary and the dress code, and this is also listed in your program. So you're gonna get a longer view of what the itinerary is. There's a short version on the first page, which looks like this. And then if you flip through, you'll have a longer itinerary, which actually includes maps and pictures and a description of the companies and the speakers as well. We'll cover the dress code quickly, but just as you see, there's a couple of days where it'll be casual. You're going to need business suits. So if you don't have a business suit yet, you need to purchase one. And the last day, Friday, will be business casual. Okay, so day one, we expect for everybody to check in with us. And again, this day it's going to be business casual. You're going to be checking in with us at the hotel conference room at 6:50. And we have a welcome speaker from Brewers Berlin Tours. And they're going to talk to us about Berlin, the history, the culture, daily living, introduction to business culture, do's and don'ts in Berlin, and then some other tips regarding safety and transportation. The day two is going to be a scavenger hunt. We're going to be meeting in the hotel at 9 a.m. and you're going to receive instructions. And the entire, pretty much it starts at 9. We probably think that ending around 3 will give you a good amount of time to finish most of the scavenger hunt, but really it's all day. We're going to be debriefing the following day. So if in the past we received some feedback from students that said, you know, the scavenger hunt was great, but I felt like we were rushed through a lot of these monuments to try to get as much done as possible. So we're going to let you guys do it at your own pace. And you're going to need, this is very important, a camera. You're going to receive a Metro Pass and also instructions. And you have assigned groups. So if you guys want to know who's in your scavenger hunt group, again, turn to this sheet. And right here, you'll see what scavenger hunt group you're assigned to. Okay, on Tuesday, we'll be going over the scavenger hunt, so we'll have a debrief. We're going to be visiting the U.S. Commercial Service, the Reichstag. Who speaks German in here? Who can help me pronounce that the proper way? Reichstag? Okay, that's the way I'll say it, and then you can correct me once I get there. So we're going to learn about the inner workings of the German government, and then we'll also have a self-guided tour. And then we'll visit the Science and Technology Park. They're going to give us an overview of the park, as well as give us an opportunity to meet 2 or 3 of the companies that are in the park. Wednesday, we're going to be visiting the Berlin Stock Exchange, visit Berlin Convention Office, and then in the afternoon, it's going to be a split visit day group. So Group A, and you can figure out whether you're in Group A or Group B, again, in this sheet, we'll be visiting Volkswagen, and Volkswagen is located in Dresden. It's about a 3-hour bus ride over there. So we're going to be going there. It's going to take us a while to obviously get there. Then we're going to have the presentation and factory tour. We're going to have some free time in Dresden, and then Group A will be returning to the hotel around 10:30 p.m. The other group will be visiting Siemens, and they're going to be finishing early around 4:30. On Thursday, we'll be visiting Land of Ideas. They're going to be talking about their strategy to brand Germany as a nation. And then again in the afternoon, it's going to be split visits. Group A will be going to Deutsche Bahn, and then Group B will be going to Dresden. And again, Group B will be returning around 10:30 p.m. on Thursday. On Friday, we'll be visiting Hard Rock Cafe, and then we'll be providing lunch. And after that, we'll have a lecture by Bayer. And then in the afternoon, we have a farewell event at a brewery, which is actually located in the Sony Center. And this event is optional. I'd encourage you to come. We're going to have appetizers and beer, so you guys are welcome to join. And the plan is to go straight from Bayer, take the metro over to the farewell event. Okay, I have 15 minutes. I'm on a time limit. Elizabeth has to tell me to stop when it's time. Okay, very important. You check out from the hotel at 12 p.m. on Saturday. The main question, I think some of you may want to travel earlier than that. Some students want to go explore. The hotel is paid until Saturday, and you can check out at noon. But if you want to check out before, you can. Just make sure that you leave enough time to attend the Bayer visit. So I'd say to be safe, the earliest you could probably leave would be 6. Get to the hotel at 6, pretty much, and then depart at that time. Okay. Okay, so before you depart, please read all of the documents on e-learning. If you haven't done so already, upload your flight itinerary in the UF Studio Abroad system. Print your CC insurance card. We have enrolled all of our students for health insurance, which you can use abroad, and you will receive an email on October 8th. If you don't receive an email by that date, please email Dina Roberts and make sure that you print out the card and take it with you to Berlin. We have uploaded a packing and travel list for you. It's on e-learning. Please make sure that you take your passport. International students, make sure that you take your I-20, DS 2019, and I-4 forms. We have had students in the past who forgot those forms and were not allowed to come back to the US. They were held in those countries until the International Center or somebody could fax them or FedEx them the copy of those forms. So make sure that you take those with you before you go. You're going to need business suits, a coat. It's going to be cold. Last I checked, the weather was 40 degrees is the lowest, and it was in the mid-60s as the high. So it's going to be pretty cold while you're there, and probably going to rain, so take a small umbrella. Make sure that you have comfortable shoes. A lot of the visits that we're going to be going to, we're going to be getting there by metro, so we're going to be walking a lot. Ladies, I know you love those beautiful heels. I encourage you to get some flats and then switch into heels if that's what you prefer to do. Otherwise, it might be a painful journey. Okay, alarm clock and watch, very, very important. You guys have to be attending the meetings on time, and the excuse that your alarm or the wake-up call they didn't call you is not an excuse. So please make sure that you plan accordingly. Take your Gator 1 ID. We're gonna need that for the Volkswagen visit. And then the question, should you bring a laptop? That is up to you. You're not required to do any type of work that needs a laptop. There will be Wi-Fi at the hotel, but you will have to pay for it. So it's really up to you whether or not you want to do it. Okay, this is an example of what we're looking for as far as dress codes go. Nice heels, full business suit. This is for business professional. This is another good-looking group. This was in Budapest a few years ago. Okay, travel tips. Make sure that you make copies of important documents. Example, your passport, your credit cards. I encourage you to make a copy of the front and the back of the credit card and that you leave that with somebody that you trust in case your purse gets stolen. That way you can call somebody or get the numbers easily to call your credit card companies to cancel them. Make sure that you keep the originals, the copies separate from the originals, because if they steal both, then what's the point of the copies? And leave copies with a trusted family or friend. One tip that I would say is you can always email yourself these documents. Just make sure it's password encrypted if it includes information that you don't want anybody else to have access to. And if you are able to, take 2 extra passport photos just in case you lose your passport. That way it's easier for you to get a passport and you don't have to deal with trying to get photos abroad. I'd encourage you to notify your credit card and bank that you're traveling abroad so that they don't freeze your accounts. Sometimes, especially if you don't travel abroad often, it'll put a big red flag, and then you'll realize once you get there that they've been frozen and you can't use them. So make sure that you do that. Don't bring valuables. You know, I'd encourage you to leave expensive jewelry or anything that you don't want to lose or that you'd be devastated about losing. Just don't bring it if you don't need to. I'd encourage you to take cash and traveler's checks in case your ATM card doesn't work, or make sure that you have some very good friends who are willing to lend you money. Okay, 5, 10? 10, okay, we're good. We're making good progress. Okay, medications. This is especially true for prescription drugs. If you have some medication that you can't live without, I'd encourage you to get a prescription or letter from the physician stating that you need to that you have to have this medication, and if possible, to include the generic name of the drugs. This is especially true if it's something that is really weird that they may not know about while you're abroad. And then, like Dr. DeFino mentioned, I always travel with Dayquil, NyQuil, headache pills, stomach sickness pills, because the ones that they have abroad sometimes aren't as good as the ones that they sell here, but that is up to you. But you know, it's always nice that if you get sick, you don't have to deal with a pharmacy. If you wear glasses, take an extra pair of glasses or contact lenses. Okay, The Germans use the euro, as you know. The current exchange rate is listed here. You can change currency. So if you take dollars, you can change currencies usually at the airport, at official currency exchange offices, travel agencies. That's usually pretty expensive. What I like to do is to get there and then take out a large sum of money as soon as I arrive to avoid any fees. And the ATM, at least in my case, is usually what gives me the best exchange rate. Credit cards usually have a foreign transaction fee. You should check your credit card to make sure what that is so that you don't have any surprises coming back. And any Bank of America customers? Okay, the good news is that they have Deutsche Bank is part of the alliance, their global bank alliance. So you don't get charged fees if you take money out from their ATM. So that's good news. It's always nice to not have to pay the extra fees. In other countries, you pay $5 for taking out money at the ATM, and then Bank of America charges you $5. So every time that you're taking out money, it costs $10, which is not great. It adds up. Okay, watch your money. There's an electronic safe in the room. Please be smart. Don't leave your cash lying around. We trust that the cleaning staff and that they're, honest, but you never know. So just make sure that you don't tempt anybody. We're going to be staying at the Courtyard Berlin City Center. You can get more details about the amenities if you go to this website. Few things that are important. Check-in starts on Sunday, October 14th at 2 p.m. If you arrive earlier, I'd encourage you to go in, try to see if there's any rooms available, and they can always hold your luggage for you. And then that way you can give them your luggage and go explore. And then checkout is at noon on the 20th. Breakfast is included. I encourage you all to wake up and take advantage of the fact that breakfast is paid for. A lot of the days that we're there, we're going from like 9 till about noon or 1. So you want to make sure that you've eaten. I don't want any hypoglycemic people to faint on me. So please eat. And then be prepared to provide a passport or credit card for incidentals at check-in. There is wireless available at the hotel, but it is for a fee. Each room has this is each room, so you guys have to coordinate this with your roommate, has 1 hour free per day, but only for one device. And then the additional fees for access are listed here. It's 2.6 euros for 1 hour or 10 euros for 24 hours. And the 24 hours includes multiple devices. So in that case, you could coordinate with your roommates. Okay, arriving by Berlin, you have instructions that are listed in the program. But just to give you an idea of what your options are, there's taxi, it's about 35 to 40 euros. If you take the bus and the metro, it's about 5. And then the bus to Alexanderplatz and then taking a cab would be about 13 euros. So you can plan accordingly. By train, if you go to the main central station in Berlin, a cab from there would be about 11 euros. I tried to look and it didn't seem like there were any metro stops that were close by, so probably taking a cab is the best option. Okay, be wary of pickpockets. During the Barcelona study tour, we had some students, by the time they checked in with us, had a phone and a purse stolen. So make sure that you're careful, especially if you're going out and traveling to other cities in Europe. Okay, instructions. This gives you an idea of what the distance is from the metro to our hotel. I have 5 minutes. Okay, you're going to be getting metro cards on Sunday. So if you arrive early, don't buy, like a full day pass. We're going to give them to you during the welcome dinner. Communicating back home, here are some recommendations. Skype or Google Talk are cheap or free if you have access to Wi-Fi. You can Skype. Have you guys used Viber? Yes. It's a very cool app, especially if you're all in the hotel. You can text each other and call each other as long as you have access to Wi-Fi. So if you haven't checked it out, I'd encourage you to check it out. You can buy prepaid SIM cards. We've talked about that. Okay, if there's an emergency situation, please make sure that you let your leaders know. We want to make sure that we're able to help you. Refer to emergency contact. Okay, flip. Probably around page 5, you'll see something like this. This gives you what the emergency the plan is in case of emergency. It includes a lot of emergency contact information. And we've also given you these tiny little cards that we hope you'll carry with you. It includes emergency contact numbers, our emergency German phones. Elizabeth and I will have a phone with us the entire time. So call us in case there's an emergency. Okay, if there's an unexpected situation, such as a natural disaster, I don't know, a terrorist attack, crazy stuff that we hope will not happen, make sure that you check in with the leaders as soon as possible. If it's possible, go to the hotel. And if that's not possible, go to the US Embassy. We will be communicating via email, via e-learning. We will leave messages at location 1 or 2 if we're not able to all meet. But please make sure that you check in with us if that's the case. Health insurance. Coverage dates are very strict. They're from October 12th through the 22nd. If you're traveling beforehand, it will include some of the cities as long as it's within these dates. I'd encourage you to look at the benefits and use it if you need to. Here are the numbers. This will also be on your card. CC can help you with finding over-the-counter medication, communicating with pharmacies, especially if you need a translator, and they can help you find medical providers with English-speaking staff. Okay, this is very important. If there's a medical emergency, please let us know. I've had students call me at 3 o'clock in the morning because somebody is being taken to the hospital. That's what we're there for. I prefer not to be called, but I want to be called. If there's something going on, we want to be sure to help you and that you're able to get the right type of help. If you have a medical emergency, you'd want to open a CC case. This is after you've received the medical help, and then make sure that you keep receipts for reimbursement. You may have to pay for expenses out of pocket, so make sure that you have access to cash or credit cards in case something does happen. Okay, very common sense things. A lot of this applies here. I will just focus on avoid excessive alcohol consumption. If you guys are going to be going out, make sure that there's one person who is sober or less drunk that can make sure that you guys get to the hotel safely. We want to make sure that you guys are safe. Avoid flashy jewelry, obviously expensive clothes. Travel in small groups and just be responsible. While you're there, you are held to the UF Student Code of Conduct. If you violate that, you may be held and sent over to Judiciary Affairs over here at UF once you get back. And if you do something that is really, really bad, then we may send you back to the US at your own expense. Your rights outside of the US obviously may not follow the US laws. They won't follow the US laws, so make sure that you're aware of what those laws and judicial system is. US embassies cannot get you out of jail, cannot give you cash or lend you money, cannot act as your attorney. They can help you with area warnings, finding a local attorney. Hopefully you guys don't need to do that. Communicating back home, providing emergency evacuation, and can help you get a replacement passport. We've used that one a couple of times. Okay, after that, we encourage you guys to make the most out of your experience, take advantage of all of the cultural activities that you can, and have a great experience, and we'll see you in Berlin. Any questions? Yes?
Sorry, as an international student, I remember that I have to go to a international center to do something for my I-94.
You have to check out.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to get that signed. And make sure that you take it with you, because
Can I go next day, for example?
I think so, yeah. Any other questions? All right, quiet group. Then we are right on the sign-in sheet. Oh, it's right here. While we're in Berlin. So please help me welcome Dr. DeFino.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you. I'm really delighted to be here. I was here early this morning at the 8:30 session, and enjoyed my time very much. And I just want you to know that you're very, very privileged and fortunate to be going to Berlin. It's an exciting city for many reasons. Not only is it exciting today, but coming from my world, which focuses on German culture, literature, and language, it's also the seat of a lot of really cool, exciting, present-day things, but very, in terms of history, also very exciting. So let me start out, because I'm going to be calling on you guys so you know what to expect. But before I start, I'm going to throw out a question, and I want it to be pretty much whatever's the first thought that comes to your mind. Now, I know that you know I teach German, so whether it's a positive or negative thing, it doesn't matter. I just want to generate a list of when I say Germany, or when you think of Germany or anything German, what comes to mind? Cars. All right, so let's do this. Cars. Oh, beer. All right. It's great. This is a good list. Keep going. Keep rolling. All right, logistics. Oops, I heard something. Did I hear a smart car? Or something over, what was it? Oh, Holocaust. All right. Keep going. Cultural people. Awesome. Oh, cultural. Okay. Oh, punctual. All right, very good. We'll put a little star next to that one. We'll leave room for something else here. Okay, what else?
World War II, is that okay?
Yeah, now see, that's interesting, because of course it's okay. I didn't invent World War II or German history. Go ahead, keep going. Soccer, yes, and we're going to give it the German Fußball. That's soccer. All right. Anything with ball and foot, which is pretty much most of the European, the translations for soccer is football. Only in the US is it actually a different name. Okay, good. Keep going. What was that?
Heidi Klum.
Oh, Heidi. Okay, yeah, okay, models. That's good. No, but you know, actually, there's in the clip there is a model in there. Okay, so what was that? Bratwurst. Okay, yes, good food. Which is sausage for those of you who maybe don't know the term. What else? We got beer, sausage. Oh, it's almost. Let me see. How many of you know that Oktoberfest is not in October? It's actually now. Yeah. Okay, what else?
Center of European debt crisis.
Yes. Okay, so we will put, well, we'll put this kind of like center of Euro financial crisis. All right, what else? Oh, Berlin. Oh, yes, okay. Well, we'll also kind of put that Berlin Wall, which I might as well give you the German. So you'll see Mauer is wall, okay? Yes, Berlin Wall, excellent, because we will talk about that, or see that, actually. A couple more. Frankfurt, the city, yeah, okay. And you know what? Why'd you pick Frankfurt? That's where you're going to fly in? No, just kidding.
It is the financial center.
Yes, that's awesome. Yes, excellent. So we'll put that right here. It's also a very wonderful, nicely laid out, relatively new airport. And I guess you guys will fly into Berlin, though? You're not flying through? Connecting in Frankfurt or in Amsterdam? Oh, okay. Good. All right. Anything else? So.
Angela Merkel.
Oh, well. And actually, good for you. You know, my students know I teach modern German culture and civ, and I'm like in love with this woman. So I'm in love with you for bringing her up. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay. So let's look at this list. We have, this is sort of the negative. This is, I don't know, like the neutral, and these are the plus. So let's see. We have a pretty good list. I think we'll expand upon that list, and we'll see if this list comes up in other things. So in the video that I will show you a little bit later on. So I do have, this is something I'm sporting. It's one of my two students of mine. They had their collage, and their assignment was to pick two figures either from present or past that sort of represent German culture, history, politics. And two guys worked together, and this is what they came up with. The guy, how many of you, well, obviously, we at least have one person that knows Merkel. How many else, who else has heard of her or knows her? Okay, and yell out, without looking, don't cheat. How, in what capacity? Who is she, and what is her function? What was that?
Chancellor.
Yes, and we'll come back to her. What about Bismarck? How many of you guys, any history buffs in class? Yep. So, so a few of you have heard of Bismarck. In what context?
Civilization.
Okay, civilization, good. Okay. Well, my students picked these two. Merkel, as you know, is our, listen to me, I associate with Germany so much, is our chancellor, is their chancellor. And as you can see, she comes from a very interesting family background. What's probably the most interesting point right now for me is that it's the first time Germany has a female chancellor ever. Beat America. That was a joke, but it's true. And if you see what amazing, she's been voted by Forbes Woman of the Year. I guess I'm used to being, I'll go on this side now. I'm going to read off the slide here. She was voted the most powerful woman in the world in 2006, 2007, 8, 9, 11, and 12. We don't know what happened in 2010. But, you know, and she does not have a political background. And as you can see, she actually was a scientist. And she grew up, does anyone know, without cheating, for those who know her, where she's originally from? In Germany, okay? I'll say, she is from Germany, so. Okay, no one knows. That's fine. She's originally from, as you can see in this map that's very tiny, she's originally from what we refer to as the former East Germany. So she grew up speaking German. She's fluent also in Russian. And she's been very powerful in dealing, I mean, why would that be so important in terms of not only knowing English and being fluent in German, but in terms of politics and economics? Why would being fluent in Russian be very important for her position? Yes?
Because of knowing the results of after the Berlin Wall fell in the former Soviet Union.
Yes, okay, and so what about for today?
Trade with Russia.
Yes, and you mentioned, obviously you know a little bit about the European Union, hopefully you'll learn more. Is Russia part of the European Union? No. And does Russia have some of its own resources? Anyone know? It has a lot of resources. So it's really in not only Europe's favor, but especially Germany's favor to be able to have decent relations with Russia. And so she's fluent in Russian, and that was part of her former East Germany education. All East Germans had to learn Russian and English. And so she still has very good Russian skills. And, you know, unlike Bismarck, who came from an aristocratic family, she came from pretty much a middle-class family, and her dad was a minister. And she's pretty much a lot like, you know, probably your average American with, she was married once, had children, got divorced, remarried. But she has a special challenge right now. And this is a term that I mentioned in the morning group, and I think one of you kind of hinted at it. She's the first female chancellor on top of all that, she's dealing with what's going on in Germany. And the term German austerity has been quite often, if you read international news and especially business, it's almost on a weekly basis. So has anyone heard of that term, and anyone say a few words to it? All right, how many of you have heard of it? Okay, so.
It's the measures that they want the rest of the European Union to take for them to help them with the European crisis.
Okay, so, and what did you want to add something to it? Okay, so actually, because we don't have a lot of time, but German austerity and the role or the position of Germany towards helping others out really goes back far in history. And it is something that's always been, Germans feel that, you know, you should help yourself and help others, but make sure you help yourself. So the point is, she's all for helping these other nations, but she wants them also to take responsibility. I mean, that's very simply stated, because what risk would Germany have in forking out a lot of money to help those countries that are really suffering? Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No. I want you guys to think about it. You know, if a country that's, I mean, we're all financially in pretty much a global crisis, right? We all admit. If you read the news, yes.
It would be that the country's coming back for more if they keep at the same level of spending.
Right. And, oh yes, please contribute.
They go ahead and spend all that money on the other country to kind of get out of the hole. It could stunt Germany's growth.
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Say like they've had a pass of hyperinflation to where they lost their currency at least once before, and if they start printing money again and take care of it, their inflation go through the roof and destroy their economy again.
Absolutely. So this is the difficult task that Merkel has on her plate. I mean, Germany, you put on the board World War II, you put on the board right, generated wall, World War II, Holocaust. The thing you're going to find out about Germany is it's always trying to balance out doing the right thing for the nation, but also keeping in mind its responsibility within Europe. If you look at Germany, and I advise that you do spend a little time just taking a look at the map, Germany has a bunch of neighbors. No country in Europe, at least Central Europe, is so right in the middle. It's surrounded by all the countries that belong to pretty much, all the countries that belong to the European Union. So politically, its geography also plays a big role, okay? So it has a little bit of a rough history. It lost the First World War, was devastated, lost the Second World War. Because of Germany, we have, and not only because of Germany, but mainly Germany, we have the Holocaust. No one wrote on the board who is associated with the Holocaust. Hitler. And I know you're probably trying to be really polite and all, but you know, that's a fact, and that's still part of it. So Merkel has to balance out, and with it, preserving the financial situation of Germany, along with trying to help the other countries. And you'll often see in the news, or you'll hear PIGS, and that's an acronym for Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain. And hopefully you've been keeping up with the news, and you know that Greece has had some rough times, and Italy and Spain are also. So they're trying to save the euro, and that's been in the news quite a bit, and for a while they thought Greece would have to bail out. So this is really important for you guys, because part of working with you this morning is to make you aware of Germany's past is still very much a part of its present and present day, and that is it's always constantly coming to terms with its past. And part of that is rooted in, or most of it is rooted in its history with World War I and World War II. And you will go over and you will meet Germans, and some of the things like, I think somebody put punctuality. Punctuality is still cleanliness, punctuality, being formal. When you meet a German, you want to look him right in his or her eye, and you want to give them a good handshake, not a wimpy one, a really good handshake. They still do that today. And they still, what's very important to them, talking about politics, the things that we're not supposed to talk about in the States, politics, religion, and sex. They love talking about politics, and they're right up on politics. And in fact, what they're going to expect that you know what's going on. I mean, especially since you guys are a business group, they're going to expect you've been following what's happening with the whole Euro crisis, the Eurozone, Germany's role in that. But they're also, and be prepared, they're also been following our elections very closely. So they probably will know more about our elections than you might. I mean, because they will want to engage, if you're lucky to meet up with some Germans, they're going to want to engage in a conversation with you about that. And they're not going to be happy with saying who you want to vote for. They're going to want to know who you're going to vote for and why. What is that candidate going to do for our economy in the US and the rest of the world? So that's going to be, you have enough time to kind of look up German austerity and, you know, and pretty much make sure you can think about how you would answer the whole elections thing that's going on in the United States. And the other thing too is, you guys, if you look at this, Germany was not united until the 19th century, and that's why Bismarck's up here. He was very powerful and figure. He was not from a regular middle-class family. He was pretty much from an aristocratic family, and Germany wasn't united until 1879. That's really late, okay? And Merkel, you know, parallel to that, Merkel came on board after the reunification of Germany, and so they both kind of been facing, just like he faced some very interesting political and economic situations. So Merkel today, only the difference is, and you can see in the way she stands, she's very very people-oriented and sort of inclusive and problem-solving too. So now I'm going to play something for you that I want you to look at our list on the board, okay? And I'm going to play a short video. It's about 3-4 minutes long, and it's by Die Prinzen. That means the princes. It's a popular music group in Germany, and oh, Elizabeth's going to play it. And I want you to look at the images. You're just going to hear this. Das alles ist Deutschland means everything that's Germany. And it's from their perspective, okay? So, you know, and you see the very front, that's where you're going to see the Brandenburg Gate. That's Berlin, okay? And let it roll. I'll throw out some translations along the... It's Berlin Wall. Aldi is a German. These are all German brands, by the way. Just one little thing that's off, and that is Schumacher, the race car driver, doesn't drive a Mercedes, but the text says now he does. And that's the princes. And that's former East Germany, where Merkel originally came from. It says, we live here and we die here. So the crash car means die, but it also symbolic too. Merkel. Hitler. So we love our cars as much as our women. Oh, we love our cars and our women. Soccer. Model, because remember you guys were saying German brand. And there we go. DDR is the East Germany, former East. I'll address that. Cleanliness. So now this is the anti-Nazi, right? Nazis raus means Nazis go away. No thanks. All right, the question mark on America, that's, I think you had that question, and that is saying this is Germany. This is everything that represents Germany. That's us. And there's nowhere else like that. And it's interesting that they have the big question mark on America because, and you're going to see that everything is, when I was a student in Germany, it was really interesting to me because in the news always came what was going on in America, and then they reported their news. So they're very much focused on us, or the United States, and it's a very interesting relationship that we have between Germany and America, and that could constitute a whole nother lecture. But you're going to see this constant kind of like, some ways, respect and love and wanting to imitate our culture, but at the same time very critical of American, you know, they'll say, oh, in America everything's so, Americans are superficial, culture is, there's no culture. In fact, there used to be a German joke that said, what was the difference between, how did it go? What was the difference between, I'm trying to remember, it was like yogurt and in LA or something like that. Yeah, that was it. What was the difference between like Los Angeles and yogurt? Or yogurt has culture. So it was kind of a joke. It was a cheap joke and on us, you know. So, and LA represents what? Can you imagine? Hollywood. And ironically, though, during the Weimar Republic, and you know, and there was a period where a lot of actors and directors left Germany, in particular Berlin, and came to America. And one of those who died some time ago was Marlene Dietrich, and she actually made more Hollywood films, and she's a classic for German. The Blue Angel is one of those classic black and white films. It was one of the first talkies and banned by the Nazis because the portrayal of women in that film was not exactly what they wanted to have Germans emulate. So what did you see in this film? What was really, I mean, these were German. I chose it because it brought up or represents a lot of German companies. And I think you guys are working on that, right? They're working as a project. So what did you see? What did you see a lot that came up a lot? Cars. Yes. In fact, one of my students, when I showed it in my culture class about the first or second week of classes, did some statistical analysis and said about 60% of the time cars, and you know, cars showed up in this little video clip. Well, cars are pretty much, as you said, I mean, you didn't be specific with like Mercedes, Audi, Porsche. Isn't the Porsche plant also in Berlin? You can tour that. You know, not only BMW, Bavarian Motor Works, are they noted for their cars, but that's a big part of their identity, and they've done some really, everyone dreams to have a really high-end German vehicle until they have to park at the O-Dome and they find all the dings and dents in it and scratches. So, so yeah, and were there any companies that you guys didn't realize and said, oh, that's German company? Yeah, T-Mobile. In fact, didn't if it's cycling, their team back with the Tour de France, you had the T-Mobile team. Yes?
Was it K-I-T-E-K-A-T? Is that
Kit Kat. Oh, not the candy bar, but the actual, that's the food for cats that is a German. Yeah. Okay, I got 5 minutes left with you guys, so I'm going to let you ask me questions, and you can ask me any question under the sun, or the moon, or the stars. Go ahead. About your trip, or just in...
I have a question.
Yes.
Probably the perfect person to answer this. The one company I haven't noticed, a lot of people probably don't know this, but Heckler & Koch, a major firearms manufacturer, world-renowned, is in Germany. Yet, under Hitler, he decided he wiped personal ownership of firearms out. And what I don't understand is they didn't have that to fight back, but yet H&K specifically, even though they make guns for Americans, they hate our culture of it, that we enjoy those freedoms so much and that we have the right to fight back against tyranny. I don't understand, where's the disconnect in that with how the culture's turned to today?
Oh, like how did it evolve to that?
And how are they still like that when they realize that, and they're like, because I've met Germans that come over here and talk to them about it, and they'll say, oh no, we're not allowed to own anything still, and they still look at it as it's bad.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because, you know, you're probably from Florida, right, originally? Even within the U.S., I'm from Massachusetts, where if I'm caught with a firearm, I actually, automatic, and don't quote me, but I think it's an automatic 1 year in prison. I don't even think I get a warning. So firearms are a huge no-no. I mean, and I didn't know that. When I came to Florida, I thought, oh, I could, you know, what do you just need your license, and in no time at all you can buy a gun. Nowhere in Europe is it allowed to carry firearms. That's a very different perspective. I mean, even Canada is very strict about that. So, but that's a really good question. I think it probably really dates back to the atrocities of World War II. And I think that, you know, they're just not, yeah, and actually that's a good question, because my advice to you would be, when you're in Berlin or anywhere in Europe, you're not going to encounter crimes. You're going to have more like petty crime, petty theft, than actual violent crimes. You encounter, I think, in the States, both, if not violent crimes more. I mean, like right now we're looking for a UF student, right? So they don't have to worry about, I think that for us, you know, we have parts of the United States that are very rural, and if I had a farm and I was worried about what was going to eat my chickens or who was going to, I'd have a firearm next to my bedside. I'd probably shoot myself before, you know, because I don't trust myself when I don't really like firearms, but if I felt unsafe, you know, it wouldn't be unusual for a lot of people, but that's not cool. I mean, they don't have the right to carry arms like we do, and not everywhere in the States. So when you're there, though, that's the warning to you guys, that because of petty theft, you know, you have to really, like for guys, don't wear your wallet in your back pocket. Try to carry it in your front pocket. For women, make sure you don't leave your purses open. And it is law that you're supposed to always have identification on you. So I recommend before you go, you make photocopies of your passport. You can leave one with your, you know, some of your roommate or significant other or parents. So should anything get lost, they can fax it to you. And but you have to watch for petty crime. Someone had his or her, oh yes.
What are, if you had to pick 3 things that we should all do while we're in Berlin?
Okay, well, I understand that you're going to have some things built in, like Checkpoint Charlie and this Sony building. You're going to get to do that and visit those places. I would say, because Berlin is very culturally, historically rich, and when I say rich if you want to go to see cool films, if you want to go to listening to different kinds of music, I mean, if you want to go to museums, I think you should decide how much free time you have and what you like, and then I would look and see what your options are. Okay, the last time I was in Berlin, they were renovating everything, and I wanted to go to the Holocaust Museum. That was really important to me, and I couldn't go. So I don't know if it's important to any of you, but I would highly recommend it because all of my students who have gone have come back and said, oh, it's the best thing they've ever seen. And it's really important to see something like that. I would say also, if you love art, the museums for art are like incredible, absolutely incredible. And it covers all ages, not just German, but just world art. And you can focus on, I mean, the last time I was in Berlin, I spent a week, and I tried to do like 10 hours of sightseeing. I didn't get through like a fourth of the list that my German friend left me on my bedside table. You must do this. I mean, I couldn't even do it all because it's just too much. Somebody had her hand or his hand up?
They shied away from like World War II history though, because when I was there 4 years ago, I don't remember there being a Holocaust museum.
Oh, in Berlin?
There is one?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's pretty famous. So you might want, I mean, I'm not saying that's what you have to do, but if you're interested in that, and of course I'm coming from the German, I'm coming from a German background, in interest.
Like, any like National Socialist like museums as well? I know that's probably like not, something.
Well, there are museums that will address that within them. Like there are resistance museums that say that in different parts of Europe. And museums will devote sections, depending upon the exhibition going on or theme, on those. You can see plenty of interesting information on that. Somebody else, you had your, yeah?
Yeah, are we going to be like just touristing around? Would we be okay not knowing any German at all?
Yeah, actually, well, here's the thing. I think you will. But I think it couldn't hurt to have, you can probably buy a cheap little paperback phrase book, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to know, like, thank you, please, good morning, guten Morgen, guten Tag, like good morning, good day, can you help me? Or even if you can't pronounce it, you can point to it and, and say, you're American. The famous, you guys know the famous joke, the Kennedy in Berlin? How many of you know that? All right, well, for those of you, okay. Well, you tell the story then.
I remember the punchline, but I don't remember the whole context. So,
All right, well, it's a grammar thing. He was in Berlin, and he wanted to show that he was united with the Berliners. So he said, Ich bin ein Berliner. Well, the thing is, in German grammar, ein means a. And in English, we say, I am an American, and you need that indefinite article a. But in German, you don't. For nationalities and professions, you don't. But by him saying ein, he made himself a jelly donut. Because a Berliner in the bakery is a jelly donut. So one thing I do also recommend, because foods came up, you cannot leave Germany without going to at least 1 or 2 bakeries, and even, a really Konditorei. Konditorei is more like, it's fancier. You sit down, you order your pastry, and a bakery, Bäckerei, is basically just, where they have baked bread and goodies, and you cannot, absolutely not. I mean, I think all of Europe, the bread rocks. When I come back to the States, I look at the bread and I'm like, unless I buy artisan bread, I'm depressed for like a long time. And I'm like, I can't believe I grew up eating that. Yes?
How much are we supposed to tip? Because I know it's customary to tip.
Thank you for asking that question, because we Americans, we over-tip. They have an added value tax that's included in your meal. So like say you pay $12 for something to drink and a salad, right? It's already figured into that. And what the common courtesy and the rule is, if something's like 12 euros, 30 euro cents, you can round up to 13. But don't put down 2 or 3 euros because, I mean, that's not $2 or $3. You have to also keep in mind that when you're traveling and you're using euros, it's not a one-to-one. So before you know it, you're like, oh my God, I've spent all this money. And same with taking out money. Make sure you don't keep hitting the ATM, because when you come home, you're going to you go into heart failure, because you're going to be like, oh my God, I got double, you know, I think Bank of America charges a lot. I have my little Campus USA bank that I love. And, you know, it's a no frills, no thrills, but sometimes less is more. So if you're going to calculate how much you want to spend, and don't keep hitting that ATM. If you go every day, it's better to take out, you know, and have some euros left over. And I see somebody who's probably a traveler. She agrees with me. You agree, right? Yes?
One comment. So if you try to, if you just take cash with you and try to exchange it, they'll skin you alive.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Don't do that.
Just use the ATM card.
Large chunks from the ATM, whether you're limited, and carry it around, assuming you won't get robbed. Or use your credit card. Really, they give you a very bad exchange rate, plus they charge you about up to 10% commission, some ridiculous amount.
It is. You're 500% right about that. And that is also, take as much, you know, I don't mean to sound like, you know, I'm, you know, I don't know, I'm this poor person. When I go over, I try to take as much food and stuff with me. Like for your long flight, I'll bring snacks. Because like even on the plane, if you, oh, and that's the other thing. Have they all made their reservations? Okay, because it's probably too late now, but I'm going to give you a real good tip. And that is, when you go to make your flight, if they say if you have any special dietary concerns, I always ask for vegetarian, because not only is it really good, but you will get served first. You will always, they will, I'm serious, and you really get excellent, excellent food. And I mean, I eat everything but pork, so, you know, I always sign, you know, I ask for a vegetarian, and all the time there'll be like 3 or 4 vegetarians, and I'm one of them on the plane of 150 people, and I get my meal before anyone else. And it's always very good. It's healthy. So instead of getting all that like sodium, like instead of getting a dessert, they'll give you fruit. So they really give you healthy choices with the veggie meals. So in the future, it might be too late now, but maybe you can ask on board and say, you know, I'm vegetarian, I forgot to fill that out, so I can see the whole group. But in the future, when you fly, do that, and they will accommodate you. So I don't know if you want to terminate me, or they can ask another question or two. Oh, that's right. Okay, you guys, well, I wish you a good, safe, fun trip. And if you have any questions or you want to email me, these guys, they have my email address.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Here, do you want the clicker?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
You know, that'll be in the exam, right? How to pronounce.
Yeah, how to pronounce it. Okay. Well, we had, you know, it's under that.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be talking to you about the Adlershof Science and Technology Park in East Berlin. It's an innovation park that employs over 15,000 people and 8,000 students. First, we're going to be talking about the history of the park and why it's such a unique location. Then we're going to be talking about the structure and operation of the park and how it's run efficiently. And finally, we'll be discussing some opportunities and threats that could affect the park in the near future. So, with the history.
I will tell you something about the history of Adlershof. At the beginning of 1900, it is famous for its aviation industry. This day, John Hamilton Airways is located in that place at that time. And later on, when the Second World War ended, Germany was divided into 2 parts. And this airways is closed, but it's the start of the science and technology in China. When Germany unified in 1990, some changes happened in Adlershof. Some employees are asked to find new jobs, or they are going to create a new company, while some are asked to work in a new research agency. So now, Adlershof is a city of science, technology, and media. It has a very famous management group. It's called Vista, and it started operation in 1994. It also has a library, and the university moved some of its department to this park. So that's the history of Adlershof. I'll pass on to Hillary.
Thank you, Annie. And let's start to visit Adlershof Science and Technology Park. At present, this Adlershof is the biggest technology park in Germany, and over 14,000 employees, over 900 companies, and 17 scientific institutions have settled inside Adlershof. And Adlershof is operated by Vista Management, which is a company which builds, rents, and operates this modern site. It is supervised. This company is supervised by a very special board, of which the board members are coming from governments and companies. Here, this is Ms. Schoenberg. She's the deputy chairwoman, and she enjoyed a very good reputation in international property career for her rich experience. And she also owns another company as a co-founder and managing partner. And Mr. Feller, he represents the government, the Germany government. He is the head of budget department, the Ministry of Finance, and the CEO, Miss Newman. She is a very successful businesswoman, and she is famous for her entrepreneurship. And this is Adlershof shareholder, and Adlershof is tightly controlled by the government. Like over 98% of shares belongs to government. So basically, Adlershof is a government organization. So Jonathan will give you more information.
Thank you. So Adlershof has been experiencing a high level of growth in recent years, so that has allowed it to continue to expand globally. So they've been helping companies do business in Germany and connect companies from different countries connect in the Adlershof Park to do business. And also they've been helping the promotion of the growth in parks in other parts of the world, specifically with the park in Skolkovo, Russia. And this is what the park in Russia is going to look like. So they're providing aid to this park to develop other startups and other businesses. So along with globalization, they've been working on projects to develop other regions of Berlin. There is a district right next to Adlershof called the Schönweid district, which is underdeveloped. So they've been providing help, and they've established an office there to help promote startups and other technological businesses and help the area grow and develop. Also, another cool project that they've been doing is renovating the old Berlin Tegel Airport into an industrial science and research institute. And its focus is to employ more people and do research on urbanization and development. So along with this growth comes some threats. There's macroeconomic threats and microeconomic threats that they've been experiencing. So on the macroeconomic scope, there's the euro crisis. So since Germany is a major player in the euro crisis, if any changes happen in the structure of the eurozone, they could lose a lot of their funding. So since Adlershof is controlled, 98.3% of the shares are part of the German government. So if anything happens, they could be in a lot of trouble. In the microeconomic environment, one of the biggest companies, Solon Energy, which utilizes photovoltaics to create solar energy, declared insolvency this year. So that's one of the biggest companies to come out of Adlershof, has almost gone bankrupt. So, and it makes up for, I think it's 30 million euros in revenue per year. So that's a threat that's affecting Adlershof. In conclusion, Adlershof, even though it has faced some threats, it's continued to grow and develop and help spread the economy and technological advances in Berlin.
I have one question, just out of curiosity. So if the government owns about 99% of this thing, what does WISTA do?
It manages the
just
park.
operations,
yeah,
just management.
operations, help companies.
And they just have 1% skin in the game, basically.
Yeah,
That's their equity position.
They help there's over 900 companies that operate in the park, so they help lease space and help the university operate in the park. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter, and I am presenting Volkswagen on behalf of my group. Volkswagen has a long and storied history. It was created originally in 1935 after Hitler had called for a people's car, and that is literally Volkswagen's name, people's car. And so in 1936, Ferdinand Porsche of the Porsche car fame created the original Volkswagen, which was the V1. And so then they created the factory, which is still the company's headquarters in Wolfsburg. And so then after the war, during the war actually, it was used primarily to be able, as many of the other factories, and constructed into the war effort. But then after, a British Army officer named Major Evan Hurst took control of the company, and because other American manufacturers didn't want to actually take control, so he took it and started it up again. And so their original car, the Type 1, was the one that they produced primarily. And during the years after the war, they had to fight off a lot of bigotry towards the German name because it had been used a lot during the war itself. So there was a lot of stigma attached to it. And then in 1949, it was introduced to US and Canada. And by 1955, it reached the landmark of there being a 1 million sold. It didn't actually reach prominence until the DDB advertising campaign, which we show here. And that started by doing a simplistic approach and a little bit of self-depreciating humor. And so it had lemon, but then it went on to refute that by showing of how it was extreme quality. In 1964, they expanded by purchasing the Auto Union, which is the makers of the Audi. And by 1972, they reached the landmark of over 15 million cars made, which had surpassed the previous record held by the Model T. In 1979, they started doing additional international expansion with a factory in Mexico. And then in 1990s, they have purchased Seat and Skoda, then the Bugatti, Lamborghini, and Bentley. And so finally in 2011, they acquired Porsche through a sort of a merger deal because Porsche actually had the controlling interest, but Porsche got integrated into the group. And so now it's finally come full circle of being owned by the Porsche family. So the goals are to offer attractive, safe, environmentally sound vehicles which are competitive on an increasingly tough market, which sets world standards in their respective classes. And they also hope to be able to make the Volkswagen Group one of the world's leading automakers by 2018. They have also the specific goals, which are to deploy innovations that lead in satisfaction and quality, and increase sales to 10 million vehicles a year, as well as getting a return on sales of at least 8%, and become a top employer across all of their brands. Their leadership is to have it multi-layered with, they have at the top a supervisory board, then followed by a board of management for the whole group, which is 9 members, and then a board of management, a brand management board. And so the head of the supervisory board is the grandson of Ferdinand Porsche, Ferdinand Piëch, I think that's how it's pronounced, as well as the chairman of the board, Martin Winterkorn. And this is Piëch and Winterkorn. So Winterkorn is renowned for having received a doctorate and then worked his way up through the ranks of Porsche, beginning first as in the Audi's quality assurance, and then heading up with the quality assurance for the whole group, and finally becoming part of the board, and then becoming the head of the company. And so he has a rather a direct approach of leadership. One of the quotes that he's well known for is, "The grains to remedy the defects better be in this room, and no one leaves until a fix is found." And he's considered a very effective leader, with 2011 profits being at an all-time high of 23.8 million. And at this moment, though, because he is 65 years old, they're currently looking, and the people are considering who will be the one to actually replace him. In their business in the world, they are the 17th largest company with 12.3% of the global market and sell cars in 153 countries. And they have factories around the world with many countries, including Germany, Mexico, Slovakia, and even the United States. So in terms of opportunities, they have, with the integration of Porsche, they're able to save almost $1 billion from being able to work closely together. And as well, they're one of the first to make a bet in the Chinese market. And so they're also looking more in towards trucks and hybrids, which are considered large opportunities within their larger group. But the threats that they are coming from is, with the global market, there are really many large players with almost equal amounts of market share, and they're able to throw their weight around, which would be potential like price wars and things like that. Further, they have the government regulation, as well as increasing environmental regulation in the Eurozone. As to the automotive industry in Germany itself, Germany was actually the birthplace of automobiles being created by Carl Benz, who created the first car ever in 1885. And there are also, Germany is among the top auto producers in the world, with the others being China, Japan, US, and Germany. And there's over 723,000 automotive jobs in Germany itself. It is the dominant sector with 351 billion euros, which is $456 billion. And they spend about 19.6 billion in research and development. And these are the top car companies in Germany who are still existing today, with the Mercedes-Benz, Opel, Audi, BMW, Porsche, and Volkswagen, with Volkswagen being the highest market share. And Germany as well has a lot of OEM plants, almost 17% of the world's automobiles. It's a leader in Europe with exporting 77% of its products, and it's one of the country's most innovative industries, and as we saw in the previous video, it is partly the pride of Germany. But as to opportunities and threats, they survived the Euro crisis quite well, and they also had a similar to cash for clunkers, with cars that are older than 9 years to get a scrapping bonus, which you can then put towards buying a new car. They have a relatively low tax burden compared to other countries, as well as one of the lowest labor costs in Europe. And the market is expected to grow by 29%, and with its central location, it's very well positioned to be able to trade with the rest of the Eurozone. Their threats are that the US is considering imposing tariffs, as well as with an rigorous industrial train. If there's one small error, it could cause a mess through the whole industry. And with the debt crisis, the car sales have dropped to an all-time low. Thank you. Any questions?